How are we doing, you wonderful people? My name is Jay, and welcome to another episode of Chilling with the Ohmies Podcast. Now, before we get into the video, make sure you hit the subscribe button and click the little notification bell. That way you guys will receive all the channel notifications and you can keep up to date with all the latest videos. And if you're listening to the audio only on Spotify, make sure you hit the follow button. That way you'll get notified every time a podcast goes up. But now that's out of the way, let's get into the podcast. So in this week's podcast, we have a very special guest, and every one of our guests is special. I'm not taking anything away from anyone. But today we've got a customer, a friend, and someone who can give a very unique perspective on this podcast, and I'm very happy to have it on. And also, it is his birthday, so if you are watching this on YouTube, make sure you leave a comment saying happy birthday. Today's guest is Elliot. I can't pronounce your last name. I'm so sorry.
Bastiani.
There we go. I didn't even want to.
Fair enough.
I didn't even want to.
By the time this podcast goes up, it won't be my birthday anymore. Unfortunately, can't have every day being my birthday.
Yeah, I know. I mean, well,
I wish that was the case, but
that'd be amazing. So we've got you on today. But actually, you approached me, so I think it'd be a very interesting idea, and I'm sold. I think it'd be a really good podcast today. What we're trying to do every week is obviously have stuff that's vape related, and one of the things we talked about for the main topic after this first segment is something I'm very interested in, because I think we're going to have very polar opposite opinions. Possibly. But we may agree on a lot of stuff. Yeah. So, as always, the only requirement for this podcast is obviously you vape, which you do. Very, very good customer of ours. Have been coming for a long time to Phoenix.
Since before you were here.
Yeah, before I was here, when the shop was first open.
Yeah, yes, indeed, when it first opened. In the first couple of months it opened.
Yeah, Danny, the original manager.
Yeah, man.
Shout out Danny again. He's been trying to get in touch with me. I actually need to get back in touch with him. Every time he's called me, I've had a customer, I've been driving, so I just need to make a bit more effort. But don't worry, Danny, I know you're trying to get hold of me. I'll call you probably after this. But obviously the first part of our podcast is usually talking about, obviously, the guest. Let's get to know you a little bit and sort of get to a bit of context on your vaping journey. So before we get into the journey, what are your sort of normal day-to-day interests? What is it that really gets you going? What is there that's... Okay,
I could say not much anymore.
Yeah.
No.
At
the ripe old age of 25, I'm fed up with life. No.
I think that's every millennial. I know you don't
pretty much in my spare time, I do photography, of course.
Okay.
When if I'm going out somewhere, I do like to go out, get just away from the humdrum of work.
Yeah, of course.
Eat, sleep, work, repeat. That sort of.
Yeah, of course.
Daily humdrum. I play a lot of video games, to be honest.
What are we playing currently? What are you into?
I'm playing World of Tanks at the moment.
Ooh, okay. They've had a lot of
World
recent
of Tanks,
updates.
League of Legends. They're games that and Warframe. The games that I sort of pick up for a couple of months, drop, come back a year later,
go back to.
pick it up. Yeah, definitely.
The thing is with them type of games, they have a lot of content always added into it, so you can pick it up and go back to it.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. And they're free to play as well. You don't have to pay money for them.
Everyone has spent saving money.
Yeah, saying that, I've probably put a lot of money into them. Definitely.
They always get you somewhere.
But we'll avoid that. We'll talk about that. So, that's I don't really get much free time apart from after work, to be honest.
Fair, once you
watching
get into that
YouTube,
working world.
stuff like that, I think like most people my age can probably relate to that. Netflix and chill after work, playing some video games, do some photography every now and again.
Fair play.
We've got some lovely people going past the shop right now.
So as you guys can see, we're obviously filming today back in the Braintree store. I've got with a slightly different setup, but where we're in town, there's always people walk past. So you may hear it, you may not. I don't know. I can't control it.
I doubt from this
you never know.
Depends if they come banging on the window like some people might do. There we go.
Okay, so got a bit about what you do, what you're into, but let's start talking about your vaping journey. So I know that you've got a lot to say, which is one of the main reasons why we got you on the podcast. But for context, do you want to start with your smoking habits before, or do you know what? I'll just let you tell the story.
Well, when I started smoking, I was a very light smoker.
Okay.
Unlike a lot of vapors, I barely smoked, if I'm honest.
Okay.
I never really caved to peer pressure during my teens. I said up until I was 18, I said I'm never going to smoke. I'm not going to smoke, and
Fair
I didn't.
Play. At least stronger man than me.
It was either when I was 16 or 18. I think it was when I was 18. I picked up I don't know what you call them, pre-made cigarettes like JPS Black, JPS Red.
I like Taylor's.
And Taylor's, if you want to call them that.
Sorry, I'm old. That's all I know them as.
I lived in France and we just sort of referred to them as pre-mades.
Hey, fair play.
So, started on pre-mades, JPS Black, JPS Red. And a packet would last me, depending on how many people came, can you lend us, can you give us a cig? Can you give us a cig? Depending on how many people did that during the week, I could probably get a week and a bit out of a packet.
What, out of a pack of 20?
Yeah.
Mate, I mean, that's that what yet there. I don't know what's happening with my malfunctioning voice box, but it's already started. That's where we're so different. I was a pack a day for 7 years.
Yeah, and a lot of vapors are.
Yeah.
I've heard stories in other vape shops of people like 70-year-old guys going in there that smoke 4 packs a day.
And I'll tell you what, it's one of the best parts of my job is when people like that come in to make the switch and we do it successfully. And then you understand, one, the power of the brain, and 2, the power of how easy it can be to switch.
Well, I might go into that story later, depending if you want to hear it.
Yeah, go crazy.
But, I'll go into it now then. But the vape shop in France, basically the guy that owned the shop, sort of got me into vaping, basically. So a great deal to him. Unfortunately, I sort of lost.
Not to cut you off, but just quickly, just out of curiosity, what was the vape scene like in France? Was it quite a popular thing?
I think that when vaping really took off, in my opinion, France was definitely ahead of the curve.
Okay.
In my personal opinion, France. I mean, nowadays I'd say the UK is far above most other countries. I would say personally.
To be honest, I'd probably agree with that.
Whereas before, when it started to really kick off, I think France was ahead of the curve. I think they've gone backwards. France has gone backwards. The UK's gone forwards, and France has gone backwards.
Too early in the industry, and they're kind of stagnated.
I don't really think it was that. I think it's just because the politicians over there are so old that they're so more. They're like not quite as bad as America. I'm not even going to say they're anywhere near as bad as America, but they definitely were like pushing like TPD.
Okay, yeah.
They really pushed for the TPD.
Yeah.
But anyway, going back to this story, like this guy's wife, this guy was like 70 years old, and he'd had like lung transplants, had a lung taken out, he'd had cancer, basically this guy was falling apart.
Wow.
And his wife was like, you need to stop smoking. You're smoking like 80 cigs like a day, like 4 packs a day.
That's
this guy.
Crazy. I don't even how do people find the time to smoke that much?
This guy was supposed, according to the vape shop owner, this guy was like, ultra well off. He's like proper wealthy businessman type, but he'd have like, like 6 cigs after a meeting, that sort of. And then an hour later, he'd have like another 6 or 7 cigarettes, like in a row, chain smoking.
Oh, mate, that's crazy.
And this guy's wife said, you are going to kill yourself. So she dragged him into the vape shop and was you pick out whatever you want.
Shout out to her.
And I think they spent like €300 in the vape shop.
Okay. Were things quite pricey over there in comparison to what you know now?
About what they were at the time, really.
Oh, okay. That's fair enough. Just
in euros, of course. But and then I think he like just went straight onto vaping, and she was like, no, she like basically threw all his cigarettes in the bin and was like, no, you're vaping now.
Nice.
And it was the guy's wife that did it because she started up as well.
Oh, fair enough.
That's like one of like the most insane stories I've heard.
Honestly,
really. Like 4 packs a day. I was like,
crazy.
Seriously?
The first thing that pops into my head,
smoking 4 packs a day.
Yeah, the first thing that pops into my head is how have you got the time to smoke that many cigarettes? But even how are your lungs still working after that?
I mean, this guy was like falling apart. He'd been in and out of hospital.
That's mad.
Continuously over like however long.
That is mental. So how long have you been vaping now? How long since you made the switch?
I only smoked for about half a year to a year, if I'm honest.
Okay.
Because I redid 2 years of school.
Okay.
In France. So I was 18 in a class of 16-year-olds. So, of course, hey, you're 18. You can buy us all our cigarettes. So I sort of sneakily, a bit going like onto what you said last week with James on the podcast.
Yeah.
Like I would go into shops and buy my classmates' cigs.
Yeah.
And my deal, because I didn't have a job and didn't get pocket money, I wasn't the sort of kid to get pocket money. I would say, right, if I go and buy your cigs, either you pay me or I take a few cigs out of your pack.
Well, yeah, it's fine as
So that's how I smoked. I never bought my own cigs to start with. I was always getting other people.
Hustler.
Basically said, if you want me to buy your cigs, I'm taking a couple out the pack.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
So that's how that worked. And then I did get some side jobs and I started buying my own.
Would you say that, because you were smoking for a reasonably short period compared to, say, the average smoker in the UK, would you say it was an addiction at that point, or is it more a social thing? Because that's another very interesting thing.
It was never social for me.
Oh, okay.
I never, like I said earlier, I never caved to the social pressure of it. It was definitely School was really getting to me. Mental health was definitely getting to me, and it was definitely a stress aid.
Yeah,
Nicotine to deal with the stress.
A lot of people have the same thing, mate.
Eventually, after that, I moved on to rolling tobacco. And I probably have about six to 8 cigarettes a day.
Well, it's not heavy
no,
at all.
I mean,
yeah, it's quite
for
light,
me. That
really.
yeah. And then my mum sort of said, my mum went on to vaping.
Okay.
And she said, I'm not going to buy you cigarettes. I don't want any cigarettes in the house. She went cold turkey. She just moved straight onto vape.
Oh, mate, what a queen.
And she had some leftover tobacco, so I used up what she had. And she said, I'm not buying you cigarettes. If you want, I'll give you one of my old vapes. So that's how I started.
Oh, okay.
My mum's hand-me-down.
Hey, fair play.
And that was a little Ego 200 mah battery with a little weird finicky screw top.
Yeah. Oh, mate,
and I had that for ages. And then the vape shop guy from Ribérac in France, I said to him, look, I haven't got 60 euros to buy one of these new box mods. Do you have anything? And he said, I've got this old thing I use at home. You can have it for 10, 20 euros if you buy something in the shop. So I saved up for a few weeks and I bought a clone of a Svermesto Kafen 4. That was my first ever tank, my first ever proper tank, not a clearomizer, an atomizer. And I bought his second-hand Vamo V2.
Oh,
and
wow.
I don't even know if you know what one of those is.
I've heard of them. I've never actually seen
like
or held one.
It's a bit like your Smock pen, the sticks, like the Smock sticks.
Right, okay.
But like 2012 edition.
Wow.
It had a chipset in it, and the screen was like the size of your fingernail.
Jeez.
And it could go up to 20 watts, or if you swapped it to voltage, it would go up to 30 watts.
Nice.
And I had that for, I want to say 3 years.
Wow. Have you still got it now?
It doesn't work anymore.
But this is another thing.
I still own it.
Yeah, a lot of vapors do this. Like I started with.
It barely works.
Cool Fire 4. I've got a gold one. What is going on with my voice? It happens every week now.
It's happening for a couple of weeks, hasn't it?
Yeah, I remember starting with a Cool Fire 4. Me and Nick made I think I bought it on Amazon originally because I'll be honest, I didn't have the confidence to go into a vape shop and be like that guy who's new and looks like an idiot. Obviously how that changes, and that's why I always pride myself being in the store to make people feel as comfortable as possible. It is a daunting thing, especially if you're new to it, but I still have that. I don't use it obviously, but I will always remember. It's like a memento.
I've never ever thrown away any of my vaping stuff.
Oh really?
I've still own every single bit of it. Yeah.
Wow, that's
crazy. But this Vamo V2, it went through hell, man. I can imagine. Still worked. Yeah. And I tell you what, the even funniest thing was like this guy is secondhand out of his like cupboard somewhere, right? And he said he basically gave me like almost lifetime warranty on it, secondhand. As a friend, because I went into that vape shop like I do with you. I'd go in there in the morning, I'd skive off school, go and sit in the vape shop and keep the guy company for like the whole day.
That's mad. Hey, we rate people like you, honestly. Like some people don't realise in the vape shop it can be so
lonely.
Yeah.
I want to say lonely.
Yeah, it's probably the right word to use, to be fair, because yes, we keep ourselves busy. We've got things to do.
Yeah.
But when there's no human interaction for long periods, I guess.
But I mean, this town in France, Ribérac, it's in the Dordogne. It's quite a popular town for tourists. Maybe some people watching this might know it. But there were 2 vape shops there. And this is like, this is an area of France that's like retiree, English retirees go over there. That's how come we ended up over there. My grandparents moved over there and we followed suit.
Oh, okay.
And, the 2 vape shops in this town.
Yeah.
This guy wasn't getting any business. He didn't last long. The shop didn't last long there. It was part of a chain, though, and I still actually speak to the owner of that chain of shops.
Are they still going?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. They're still going, yeah.
Fair play.
Yeah, he's got loads of brand deals and stuff as well himself. Yeah,
nice.
he built his business from nothing, and he's doing well for himself. He is. Christophe.
Oh, shout out Christophe.
Yeah, at Vapo Smoke Today is the name of the shop.
I'll have to look him up,
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But, he basically gave me lifetime warranty on this Vamo V2, this shitty little stick.
So
180. It took an 18650 or 2 18350s.
What? They're like little nugget batteries.
Yeah, the ones that last about half an hour.
Yeah, they're not great.
And I tell you what, this mod, it like the 510 broke on it, right? Like the 510 was completely cross-threaded, just completely nuts. You couldn't screw a tank. The tank would fall off.
What?
This guy took it back. He went to his house. He chopped the top of it off. He resoldered it, he milled out the hole, and he restuck a new 510 in it. This thing looked like it had been for a building site, and it worked.
That's insane.
Bomb-proof. This mod was bomb-proof.
It sounds like it's been through hell and back.
But yeah, it still worked. He literally like welded a new top on it and then milled it out, made a new 510. And I tell you what, like screwed in the 510. He's like, it's a bit iffy. You've got to like put a bit of pressure on it and squeeze it in tight. And I literally went, yeah, it works.
Oh, mate, that's insane. That is actually insane.
But I had that mod, oh my God, so long, 2-3 years. Like even after I met my girlfriend, I still had that. When I lived in Paris and I got together with my girlfriend, I still had that mod and it was still working.
That's crazy.
It doesn't work now, and the clone Kayfan 4 has literally like fallen apart. Like everything's just literally fallen apart. But I had that mod. That's almost the longest I've owned a mod.
That's crazy. So where do we go from there?
Then it was basically, I picked up a Joytech Evic VT.
Oh,
That was my first, because the guy had one. He said it was banging. The guy from the vape shop had one. He said it's banging. I managed to get one. It broke after about a month.
Oh, really?
Yeah, chipset. Just the chipset would either read no atomizer with nothing in it.
You're looking at your first device going, that still works. That's been cut up into pieces.
Yeah,
and it still works.
Yeah,
this
honestly.
new bit of kit, a month.
Honestly, it's like comparing a Nokia 3310 to a brand new smartphone.
Oh, wow.
Honestly, it's almost like that. I'd say it's like that. But this VT, it broke. The chipset either wouldn't read an atomizer when I knew the atomizer would work, the coils were good, or it would read like 1.4 ohms. You're like, I ain't even got an atomizer on it.
Oh.
Like this thing's reading an atty when it's not got one on it. And it would like fire and it would show itself firing, but it wouldn't output any voltage.
Oh, my
You're
God.
like, okay.
That sounds like a faulty unit, to be fair.
I contacted Joytech, not the people I bought it from, because I got it off GearBest.
Okay.
And they were like, you've got to send it back to us. What, send it to China? You've got to be joking, mate. It's going to cost more than the device.
Yeah.
They said, okay, well, in that case, we'll give you a coupon for 20% off a new one. Well, that's not bloody good. I've just bought it.
You've still got to spend out again on another device.
Yeah, and then in the end, they got it to like 30% off. I was like, no, screw this. I ain't even...
Yeah.
They said, or we can give you... They said, we can give you 10%. I was like, all right, okay, that sounds like a good deal, pay 10%. No, we'll give you 10% credit back on your account. So I got I went, okay, I'll take that.
Okay.
Got like $6 on my account on GearBest or something. Contacted Joytech France. They said, okay, send it to us. We'll see what's wrong with it. Within a week, I had a new one.
Yo, that's
literally
really
like I
fast
was saying to you earlier. Like literally, Joytech.
Never had a problem.
I cannot complain about their customer service. Probably the best customer service I've had out of anyone.
Hey, fair enough.
So they sent me a new one. That lasted about 6 to 9 months. Not a hugely long time.
Okay.
I got sticky button.
Oh, the dreaded sticky button.
And a bit like an idiot, I thought it's going to be out of warranty. I'll try repairing it myself. And
how'd that go?
Doing so, I pierced the battery and had a cloud of grey smoke plop up in my face. And I was like, I am never touching that again.
Yeah, I do not blame you. I would have freaked out.
It still vaped, and I was like, I'm not even going to bother.
Yeah,
because it literally like started to fire, and I was like, this thing's going to blow up in my hand in a second.
Yeah.
Like, no. So I just put that in like a shelf somewhere and just threw it out.
Looking in the timeline of things, that's probably around the time where a lot of people were misusing mech mods and they were exploding.
Yes.
And they're all over the internet, all over the news articles.
The big like around that time was the I don't know if you know this one, but the Kangatech that blew up in a guy's pocket.
Yes, I heard about that.
And the infamous video where the guy's in a vape shop and he's got a mech mod and it blows up in the shop and starts sparking everywhere.
Yeah.
And the guy that had one blow up in his mouth and it disfigured his mouth as well.
Yeah, so I did see an extra onto that last article where apparently it was like his battery was vented, but he had his loose 18650 in his pocket with change, which charged it, obviously, in a negative way. Put it in his device, which caused it.
There was one with a Kangatech device that it blew up in his face, and that was supposedly a regulated box mod. So that, I think, killed Kangatech because you never hear of them anymore.
I'm going to be honest. Obviously, we do a lot of orders for stock. Kangatech still exist. No one I know, no reputable vape shop stocks Kangatech, and there's a reason for it.
They're shoddily put together.
Back in the day, They were at the forefront.
Yeah,
they had a lot of bad press. Some of their big tanks leaked a lot. The coils weren't that great.
Their QC was not up to scratch.
A lot of people were willing to put up with that because they were trying to cheap, and they were innovating. They constantly, them and Inikin at the time were really trying to push the doors down.
Definitely.
I say this a lot to a few other vape friends as well. In America, even today, Inikin is still rated one of the highest brands. It didn't quite land as much here with the same models, but I think the brand landed here very well. Like, everywhere I looked at a certain point in my vaping life, career, whatever you want to call it, everyone had a Cool 5.4. Every single one in their dog.
I do know. I've never had one.
Oh, wow.
But I do know a lot of people that have.
It seemed to be everyone I spoke to.
And where I lived, a lot of people had E-Leaf.
Yeah,
which I believe is a spy, which I think we were saying it was a spy here in the UK,
earlier,
but I think it's E-Leaf in Europe.
Yeah, I believe so.
And they were at the forefront as well. Like they were some of the first ones to come out with inbuilt battery, like the Ice. I think it was like the Pico. I think it was called.
Yeah, we still sell the Picos.
Yeah,
they sell very well.
250 mAh inbuilt battery, and it went from like 5 to 15 watts.
Nice. At the moment, they've got the Picos that take a single 18650, but it's the same sort of premise. They've just gone, rather than trying to get a bigger battery, we'll just do an external battery holder. Yeah. And they sell very well, and they are very reliable.
Good starter kits.
I always say, Aspire, I mean, obviously, I know that you watch the podcast. Me and James both have a Mulus kit because we just rate Aspire.
I watched the last podcast, you and James. I didn't see the first one, I will admit that.
I know, that's fair enough.
But you were both raving about pods, which... get into that later, I think.
Yeah, we'll get into that. That's fine. Well, this is what I'm saying. It'll be very interesting.
Yeah.
So we go from that.
After the VTs, I got some birthday money.
Okay.
Obviously, during that time, I was back to my Vamo V2.
Yeah, well, to be fair, that thing deserves a medal.
Yeah, definitely. That's why I've still got it. Well, I'm still in France, actually. But I had birthday money, and I bought myself a Dovpo Twisted Messes 150 watt. Ooh. Which is the story that I told you the other day, which if you want to get into that later.
No, yeah, we can do. It's a very, very interesting story.
That's a very long-winded, twisted...
yeah, I think a lot of people will be interested to see. I always say a lot, whether it's in my videos, in the podcast, in conversations with customers, you've got two types of vape shops. It's the same with companies. You've got two types, ones that really want to help and ones that just want to palm you off and just take your money. And I think that sort of story fits into a mixture of the two. I did
buy it from... the site that I bought it from, Le Petit Vapoteur, which has grown massively. I will still sing their praise in terms of liquids, but my views on them on hardware side have been tarnished.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Definitely. So liquids, I'll sing their praise to high heavens, especially with DIY stuff. Okay. But the hardware, I wouldn't risk buying from them again, just in case.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'd rather come to someone like you.
No, I appreciate it. At least you know you've got a warranty, you've got someone who's going to look after you wherever we can.
That's like one of the main
selling points of a shop. Yeah, again, me and James touched on it last week. We're the type of people, and this is the type of company where we really value the experience. Mm-hmm. Like, yes, it would be nice for our till if we sold you a £150 setup.
Yeah.
But if I know you're not going to be better off with that, like if you come in as an experienced vapor and wanted it, different story.
Yeah.
But if you're a new vapor, and I've been to vape shops where I've just been a customer browsing, seeing what they've got.
Well, why do you think there's so many stories of mech mods blowing up? Because in America, they were flogging them 200 quid mech mods when these guys didn't know how to vape. And they weren't doing checks. Or they were like, I want clouds, give me clouds. Yeah. And like, okay, well, I'm going to give you a mech mod.
Exactly that.
Do you know your Ohm's law? No.
Yeah.
Do you know battery safety? No.
I was actually speaking to a customer earlier who runs a local vape shop in a different town. I think it was Malden, I think it was. He was saying that he will only sell a mech mod to a customer. Very nice guy, come in here, bought a load of stuff, which is nice. Mm-hmm. He was saying he will only sell a mech to a customer. He's only ever sold two because he takes it so seriously. He's like, cool, tomorrow you're going to come back here and you're going to build me a coil. You're going to tell me what ohms it is before it reads out. And he goes through this whole checklist. And he goes, if you do all that, I will happily sell you because I know you know what you're doing. Because I don't think people really understand the dangers of mech mods. I mean, they get the bad press, obviously. That goes everywhere.
Well, yeah, that's fine. Whatever goes viral, and the bad press obviously goes viral.
But yeah, they're not just to be played with if you don't know what you're doing.
I think there's maybe a bit go into later on, but I think that's the reason that some people are still put off by vaping because it's not just like a pack 100%. Of cigarettes. It's not just whip it out, light it up, smoke it, done. There's more to it.
Of course there is.
And I think a lot of people still don't realise that there's more to it.
Oh yeah, and I refuse to sell mech mods. If someone comes in, like I said,
even myself as someone I would self-proclaim myself to be quite knowledgeable.
Yeah, of course.
I've got a mech mod at home. I've never used it.
they're nice little showpieces, definitely not daily drivers. And if someone was an experienced vapor and avid for me to order it in, of course I will provide that as long as I know they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
But I will never have them on the shelf to sell to just anyone. And I don't know, that's just me. A lot of people in the vape industry think about this differently because most of them are mech heads themselves and they play with them. That's fair enough. But yeah, for the average consumer, that's just not worth it.
Yeah. So, yeah, like going back again, all these tangents. So yeah, I had the Dovpo Twisted Messes. That didn't last. I then ended up with a new one and a Dovpo Champion 220 watt.
Oh, mate.
The Dovpo Champion 220 watt became my daily driver.
Fair play.
Because I didn't want to touch the new Dovpo Twisted Messes 150 watt.
Yeah, don't blame you.
That's basically a showpiece at this point. It does the new one does work. It's sometimes a bit weird. It likes to do certain things. I'm like,
Right. Okay.
So like it gets, if I'm going on a night out, like a fancy night out, I'll probably take that one with me because it's like my nicest vape. It's like, it is a showpiece, to be honest. It's gorgeous mod.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
It's just the internals of it are like, okay, fair enough.
See, Tom, good friend of mine, he's been on the channel years ago. I want to get him on for one session. I think it'd be quite a nice podcast. He actually went out and bought an Osmodus Minikin V2 in chrome blue. Them things look beautiful, but yet again, he was using it as a daily drive. I just think the chrome finish, the shape of it fits nice in the hand.
They're not the nicest looking ones ever.
No, but
they're not the most expensive either. If you're talking about showpieces.
No, of course not. But I think if you see one in a normal vape shop, just your average vape shop, and you see on the
it will
shelf,
stand out.
you go, oh,
it will stand out. Yeah.
Shiny-itis, you're a magpie to it, you straight away.
Well, it's like your rainbow-coloured smock sticks.
Exactly.
They're eye-catching.
He used one of those as a daily driver, and he soon realised that it's not a daily driver; it's a showpiece. Because if you use it heavily, that's when you start getting problems with the chips. So
yeah.
But yeah, so where do we go from that?
Well, not really that far.
Okay.
I owned an iJoy Zenith Max, which was a triple battery pentiometer mod, which went up to 300 watts.
Oh, mate.
And I coupled that with an OBS V tank, and the OBS V tank was a piece of crap.
Yeah.
Because it was trying to compete with the TFE12 Big Baby Beast from Smock.
I'll tell you what, OBS have been on a journey. They've been on a journey.
Before I owned the V tank, I've owned every single OBS tank, every single one of them. The RDA, the RDTA.
What did you think of those prior to this tank?
Brilliant.
Yeah,
brilliant, absolutely brilliant. But the V tank again, and their lack of support. Because when I said, look, this V tank is faulty, the coils don't work properly, it leaks like a sieve. Like literally, you'd fill it up, and then 2 seconds later, your whole box mod would be dripping with liquid. It'd literally just drain out.
That's mad.
And I was like, so either I've been sold 3 lots of faulty coils,
or it's an actual manufacturer problem,
or it's like the O-ring's busted, or something on it just doesn't work right. And then after that, on top of that, I filled it up, and the glass just cracked. And I've never, ever, I'm probably one of the only vapors you'll hear this from, I've never broken a glass on any tank I've owned.
Oh, really?
Ever.
Well, that is an achievement.
Even this one's fallen over quite a few times, never broken. That is the only tank that's ever broken, and I literally unscrewed the top, filled it up, screwed the top back on, the glass just went.
That's crazy.
And I tried contacting them. I said, look, it's broken.
Yeah.
No reply ever. And because I bought it off of Fast Tech, I was like, I'm not even going to bother, because they're going to be like GearBest. It's not even worth the effort, not even worth my time of day writing them an email.
I've got a few friends that have obviously gone through the Fast Tech for sales, returns, and things, and they are pretty good. It's just time consuming, just because of the time difference, the office times, the actual shipping. It comes from China. It's the other side of the globe. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So if you're willing to wait and you're not desperate, they'll be all right. If you're looking for a quick replacement, then you might as well just buy something locally, like genuinely. But that's fair enough. So is it safe to say that you're more of a sub-ohm vapor than you are, say, mouth to lung?
Yeah, definitely.
Any particular reasons, or?
I've tried mouth to lung. I had what's it called? The Vaporesso, the little one that looks like a Zippo.
Oh, and I couldn't. That is actually
No, it's not. It's not.
Clippo.
No.
I know it's a play on words with a lighter, because James had them in at Storford. They look lush, but I can't remember what it's called. We're also very lucky this week. We've actually got Sam Wiggs behind the camera, and he's actually set up the lighting today. So if any of you feel the need to put in the comment section of how good the lighting is, then I'm sure it will feed his ego even more.
Someone's got to fucking teach him.
That is true. Someone has got to teach me. But yeah, sorry. So
yeah, there's the
Vaporesso
Aurora, the original one, and it basically went discontinued like as soon as they made it.
Yeah,
it was
a few
very
stores
difficult
got them in,
for me
struggled to get rid of them.
Find one.
Yeah.
But I've got one of them. That's a mouth to lung device. It was all right. I tried it for a couple of weeks, and I'm just like, it's in a cupboard. It's like just doesn't suit me.
So would you
all.
put that down to?
I'm like. And then
it's like sucking for a straw, like bowling ball for a straw.
And I'm like, I didn't get a hit from that, even with like 9 milligram liquid in it. I'm like.
So would you put that down to a bad experience from a device, or just the actual experience of mouth to lung inhaling?
I think it's the actual experience, because it took me like when I first tried my like direct inhalation, like my Kafen 4 clone, I was coughing for like 10 minutes straight.
Yeah, of course.
And that was with like 0 milligram nicotine, like 0 milligram. I was like. The guy was like, "You're right. Do you want a glass of water?" I was like, "No, it's just completely different." It's like, no.
Yeah.
But I've just got used to it, and like I get the hit that I want from.
I know, it's fair enough. It's just something I always ask.
I don't care much for like the huge clouds. I did go through that phase, like I think everyone vapor does.
Yeah, of course
but
they do.
Like it's just the hit's completely different. I like that deep throat sort of. Sounded weird there. That hit, you know, the hit in the back of the throat.
Yeah, of course.
I just don't think you get that from a mouth to lung.
That's fair enough. I think, like me and James mentioned last week, I think with the invention of pod systems being better and Nic salts.
I've never tried Nic salts.
That's where they're kind of bridging that gap. So the sort of experience you're describing, you can get in a mouth to lung hit now, which you obviously couldn't before. It's just out of curiosity. Every vape is different. And this is obviously the point of the podcast. Everyone is different. So knowing your journeys are always going to be different and things like that. So
yeah. So really, apart from that, I also owned the Evic V2 from Joytech, and I've still got that.
Okay.
It still works. And it's been run over by a bus. It's been dropped. It's been kicked. It still works. It's fine.
So you have what I've noticed already.
Chipset's gone a bit wonky.
Oh, I can imagine.
It doubles the resistance for some reason. If I've got a 0.2 ohm coil, it reads 0.4.
Fair enough.
Which uses up the battery. So I don't know if it's actually a battery issue that I've got, or just the fact that it's reading 0.4 when it's 0.2 and it's using more voltage, which is probably the case.
If a customer come in and said, "Can you change my coil?" and I changed it and noticed that, I'd be like, "Yeah, don't use this. Just do it on the safe side."
It still works. It's fine. It doesn't overheat. It does get a bit hot. I mean,
so what I've noticed so far from your journey is obviously you've made the transition quite simply, quite easily, but you've either had really, really outstanding devices that have lasted, you know, bombs going off on them, and then you've had the complete polar opposite where they won't last 10 minutes.
I've been on both sides, and I also then along with the iJoy Zenith Maxi or whatever the hell that thing was called, which broke because of the V-tank, because liquid just kept pouring out of it. That box broke.
Right.
Now iJoy were willing to replace it, but they wanted me to wait a month while they shut down for Chinese New Year.
Oh, what?
And then in the end, I was like, this thing was like 25 quid off Fast Tech. I'm not even going to bother. It's just it's not even worth the effort.
Fair enough.
Again, like 25 quid. It lasted me a few months, obviously, but I mean, the liquid got into it. We tried me and a mate of mine tried resoldering it and wiping it down with alcohol, and it was like, nah, sorry, mate.
Sometimes, yeah. So with certain devices, certain wire sets they use, sometimes you can get lucky.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, it's always classed as like water damage, even though e-liquid's not. You know, I know it's water soluble, but it's not the same sort of thing. You get lucky. Either they work or
and
they
then
don't.
I've owned this, the Raybox.
Absolute beautiful bit of kit.
And to be honest, despite its looks and despite the fact that water has gotten in there and crap has gotten in there and it's full of junk, which I constantly clean out, it still works.
Yeah.
The batteries...
Bit hit and miss?
Well, it's, you know, after... Obviously, like any battery,
over time,
it has a life cycle. This one's coming to the end of its life cycle, but I can still easily get half a day to 3/4 of a day out of it.
To be fair,
and it still works.
I know it's subjective for people's perceptions. I really like the look of those. I just think they look amazing because they're so different. I like the fact that they're slightly.
That's
open,
one of the reasons why I got it.
Do you know
a lot of YouTubers that reviewed this were like, "It's open, it's gonna break." Like that you can get your finger in it and stuff. It's going to break. It's dangerous. I've not had a single problem with it, and I've had this for 3 years
So
now.
the sort of person I am is I would buy that as a showpiece.
Yeah.
For that reason, obviously you use it as more of a daily driver.
It was a showpiece, but sometimes it's a daily driver,
Yeah,
and it can be used as a daily driver. Amazingly, it can be used as a daily driver.
That's mad. I mean, if you work in a vape store, I mean, pretty much anything could be a daily driver because we have the luxury of being able to put things down on the side and leaving it. And do you know what I mean? Make sure nothing goes near it. We've obviously depend on some person's job. I can't imagine a scaffolder using that as a daily driver because of all the stuff that's on site and things like that.
Well, I use it in a metal factory. I use this as a daily driver for like 6 months in a metal factory. Wow. And it still works.
Hey, fair play, man. Fair play. That's
in fact,
crazy.
I think the tank ends up with more crap in it than the box does. And you just get the air blow up, done.
Oh, happy days.
It still
You've got
works.
the tools. I actually need to get some compressed air for my phone charger because it's clogged up with dust.
But yeah, and apart from that, I think the only... that was when I was in Holland. I bought the iJoy ZenF Maxi and the Raybox. And then, since moving back to the UK in 2018, I bought the Vupu Drag, the original, in 2018.
Okay. How was that? How did you get on with the drag? A lot of people rave about that series.
Yeah, well, I've had mixed.
Okay.
Because it had a very funky button. The button wouldn't fire half the time.
Yeah.
I definitely had a problem with the button. Like, it would only fire if you pushed the button in a certain spot, and that certain spot would change every time. So you'd be like,
Where
no,
is
not
that
there.
spot?
No, not
Yeah.
there. Oh, there it's fired. Oh, wait, no, it's just switched to SS mode, stainless steel TC.
Yeah.
Right, okay, I'll hit the button through. Oh, no, it's not there anymore. Right, okay, I'll hit it again. Oh, now it's in nickel. Oh, you're right. Titanium. Right. Oh, okay, wattage. Oh, it's gone back to SS.
Oh.
But, weirdly, I don't know why, it works now. My Dovpo Champion 220 watt has stopped
Was that the one
working.
you showed me you've like buffed
Yeah,
out?
I've still got it on me, but like my Dovpo Champion worked, but now it doesn't. My Vupu Drag didn't work, or it was being very funky. Now I've got no problems with it, and all they've done is sit in a box. No batteries in them, no nothing. They've just sat in a box under my bed. Now one works when it didn't, and one doesn't work when it did.
That's mad. Do you know what? That is one of the wondrous mysteries of the world that we'll probably never find the answer to.
So
That's
now
crazy.
my three main boxes are the Drag, the Raybox, and the Evic V2, because they're the three that have been
They've
the
survived.
most durable. They've survived. The Drag, again, bit of a weird story behind that one.
It's kind of come back from the dead. Do you know what I mean? But hey, fair
I
enough.
have no idea why, but it does. It just works again. And
put
the
your mind at
button's
ease a
fine
little
as
bit.
well now, so I don't know what that was.
It must have.
Maybe I got
sticky.
sticky. Maybe something was loose, and then I got sticky button. So
Yeah, maybe.
it's actually suffering from sticky button, but it makes it work. I don't know.
I mean, just to put your mind at rest, in case you're dying to know, the Drag 2 series, the Drag Mini, they did buff out a lot of those issues. I've not had a single... The only sort of Drag series I've returned within the last 6 months is Drag Minis, where the internal battery is just given up. And that's more of a manufacturer thing. They should be lasting a hell of a lot longer than that. But the actual functions don't really get a lot of issues with the new generation ones. So
I mean... an average 18650 cell has a life cycle of about 250 to 300 recharges.
dropping
And
knowledge
if you're
bombs.
recharging your vape once a day, that's less than a year.
Yeah, I mean, we usually advise to change your batteries every 6 to 8 months.
Yeah.
Because that way you're not getting to the end of its life where
Now, I
things
don't
could
know
be-
how it works with internal ones like these ones, the lipos, but they probably got a bit
we
more.
usually go off of the manufacturers. They
Yeah.
guarantee it for a year. So from our end, we expect it to last a minimum of 12 months, depending. If you run it over, put it in water, that sort of thing. But, just your average everyday use, they should be lasting a minimum of 12 months. It's very rare that they don't at this sort of standard.
I'd say that after 3 years or 2.5 years of owning the Raybox, I think the battery capacity is probably down to about 60%, if I'm honest.
Yeah, but that's natural. If you've had it
I
that
know.
long, then that's about
Plus, it's
about
only
right.
a 3300 mAh.
Oh,
in this
wow.
one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the Evic V2 is a 5,000 milliamp hour battery.
Yo, do you know, they don't really do a lot of 5,000 milliamp batteries anymore.
As far as I'm aware, the Evic VT and the Evic V2 had and still have, even though they've been discontinued, the biggest internal batteries of any device on the market.
Well, there's one other device, which I've currently got in stock now. It's a typically older device, but they still make them because they sell very well. 5,000 mAh battery. The Istick Power 80, the mod only. They're doing like a wood grain finish, a grey and a black.
I didn't know
I've got
that.
it there. I'll show you. It is just a normal box mod that you can screw anything onto. I think it only goes up to 80 watts.
The V2 only goes up to 80
5,000 mAh
watts,
battery.
And that was with the firmware
And I tell you
update.
what, a lot of the older generation, when they were like sort of new to the market, not the people, the actual device, it was just solid. People wanted it all the time because they could put their mouth to lung tank on it if they're just starting, and they'd get 4 days out of it because it had such a big battery. People were putting sub-ohm tanks. It's like that was more like the Baby Beast era, where you know, do you know what I mean? Like our Alien era in the UK, it swept us, and it was an amazing
Alien was
time for
very,
vaping.
very.
But
We're talking about the box.
yeah,
the Alien box,
the 220.
the 220 watt box.
Yeah, so when they
That
released the
was very
Baby Beast
popular.
on its own, oh my god, like everyone wanted that tank because they could have it without the kit, and they couldn't get the kits at the time. So a lot of people were just putting that on top of it, and they were like, "This is amazing." And it just become, you know, you put a K2, K1. We used to call it the Infinity mod. You'd have to charge it once a week. Like it was just crazy. Do you know what I mean? Because it's only running at such a low.
Yeah,
watt.
this one when I first got it would last me 2-3 days. The V2 would
mate.
last me 2-3 days as well. But now they're like charging like twice a day sometimes. You know,
Yeah.
But I mean, one of them's like 4 years old, and this one's like 2.5, 3 years old now. But they still work.
Well, you
I
definitely
still
got
use
use
them
out of
because they still work. But I've tried to get in contact with the companies to say, look, can you get me a battery replacement or something? But they've been discontinued, so you can't.
Yeah, I mean, you might be able to salvage one online somewhere secondhand, but then I
risk
wouldn't
it.
try. I wouldn't trust it.
risk
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, that's fair enough.
So when they're like, you know, you vape it once and the battery's dead, I think that's like, goodbye, old friend.
Yeah, we'll put you in a box and then we'll
I'll
leave
still
you on a
keep
ship.
them, I'll
Yeah,
still keep
and you
them.
can just literally label it like the longest lasting inbuilt battery that you've had. But fair
Definitely,
play.
definitely. But that's about. I mean, that's basically my vaping history. Box mods, tanks. As I said, I've owned every OBS tank there was, but then went off them with the V tank because they screwed up. I think, in my opinion, they
No,
screwed up with
you're
that tank.
not the only one to share that opinion.
And for the longest period, I was on rebuildables.
Okay.
And I think that it's only in the last probably 2-3 years that mainline tanks and coils have caught up.
I'll definitely give you that. This is
Because
something I
something
speak to
like
a lot
the
of managers about.
Falcon or the Valerian, you can almost get the same flavour
Yeah.
as you can with a rebuildable.
See, I've made it very obvious on the channel, massive UL fan. And I think it's because they're one of the only companies right now. I mean, the likes of Horizon Tech are definitely catching up, and they've got some outstanding sub-ohm coils.
Yeah.
But I find that the coils that UL are producing, with the materials they're producing with, they are very, very similar to rebuildable flavour at different wattage levels. Like your Valerian's your high end. It's almost a carbon copy of an RDA sub-ohm version. And that's why I was so attracted to the Nunchaku 2, because I was getting a very similar flavour at half the wattage.
I think it started catching up when manufacturers were doing. You had like I can't think of it like the TFE8 for example from
Yeah,
Smok.
yeah.
You had standard coil.
Mm-hmm.
You had a like 1 ohm plus coil.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you could fit a rebuildable deck in it.
We actually have Baby Beast, like mini V8 RBA decks in here right now. I got them in a delivery and I was like, I haven't seen these in ages, but people
still
went
got
crazy
mine.
for them.
I've still
Yeah,
got
people
mine.
went mad for them.
But
Give me the
the
freedom.
coils that came out of that thing were fantastic. You didn't need to use. I found that the coils that I made in the rebuildable deck, because the rebuildable deck was so small,
Yeah,
you wouldn't get the wattage or
Yeah.
the flavour out of them as you could the actual TFE8 coils. The only issue was that some TFE8 coils were very dodgy.
yeah.
Smok,
I mean,
Smok were not that great with their coil
They
manufacturing.
still aren't. I'm going to be honest with you. That is one of my biggest gripes with Smok. I think they've done extremely well to become a household brand.
Oh, yeah.
They've marketed incredibly well considering what industry we're in. However, their devices are great. Their coil
I
consistency.
find it's a bit of a shame they started pushing their kits so much as well. You cannot get,
Oh,
you
I
can
think
barely ever get the tanks on their own now, and I
Yeah,
think that's a shame because their tanks are fantastic.
they're
The coils
becoming,
are a bit
they
dodgy.
are slowly becoming the Apple of the vaping world. That's what they're trying to do.
Mm.
They're trying to capitalise and cut off corners of the market that you have to go to Smok for. And that's fine if you want to do that as a business model. But you've got to realise
Smok
that consumers are going to get annoyed about that.
Yeah, but Smok sort of went to the other end of the market
Yes.
because their TFE12
Mm-hmm.
was the only tank on the market that could have coils that went up to 250 or 350 watts.
Yeah.
They were aiming for like proper cloud chaser
Yeah,
mech mod.
Well, they call it the
people.
Cloud Beast. Do you know what I mean? That's
Yeah,
literally
exactly.
why they branded it as.
And OBS tried to copy it and failed miserably. But then Smok sort of realised, hang on a minute, this is like such a small portion of the market,
yeah.
and they've come back towards the mainstream again.
Yeah, of course.
I think there's barely any, if any, manufacturers that aim towards that.
There's only one tank I can think of, just off the top of my head, and that was the original big Cascade tank from Vaperesso. They had the GTM coils that went up to about 250 watts.
Yeah.
But that's the only thing, and that's only because people have come in and asked for them or I've sold them.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I know that offhand.
I think as well, like moving more on from my vape history now. Right?
Yeah, we've been talking for so long, so that's fine.
So I think like, you see like when it took off in America, like the people that wanted the clouds started making their own mods.
Yeah.
You see these mods on Instagram, they've got like 40 batteries in series or whatever in them. And they're like,
they look
I'm
great.
going to
Wouldn't
put
use
for 4,000 watts.
Yeah, and fill a whole room up.
Hell? Like,
It's almost like a security device at that point because you're just filling a room up with smoke.
or you've
in one
seen
pull.
like pictures on Instagram where they've screwed like 20 of the same mech mod together and the tube's like that long and they're like,
It's crazy. It is honestly crazy.
it's like 0.00010 ohm at 4,000 watts. Like literally like tenth of a second.
And then it would just fill the whole room. So lastly, just to wrap up this section, I think they've got a lot of your journey in here.
Yeah, probably
one
too
thing I
much.
like to ask everyone is, has vaping changed you for the better, or has it not really made a difference? I mean, compared to smoking, not as a person. I don't expect someone to pick up a vape and then all of a sudden become Gandhi. But do you know what I mean? Would you say that
No,
it had
I
a
would say
positive
it's
impact?
changed me more as a person than anything else.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's something that I got interested in.
Okay.
It's something that I took interest in. I learnt about it. I went through the rebuildable stuff, the DIY liquids. I went through like learning about all the different stuff. I mean, I've fallen a bit more out of it now. Like, I'm
Everyone
going
does.
to probably talk about it a bit later on, but like, yeah, and like coming into vape shops and the social aspect of
Yeah,
vaping
the
is what's
community.
changed
Yeah, yeah.
my life, to be
Yeah,
honest.
of course. Okay.
Because
yeah.
although smoking was social for me at high school, it was like it's still smoking.
Yeah, of course it is.
But vaping is, I don't know, it's different
find
because
it
you can talk about vaping. You can't talk about smoking.
Yeah, you've got menthol, normal cigarettes.
But it's not
rolling
even
tobacco.
that. Like vaping, you
What
can
is
go,
there to talk about?
what liquid are you vaping? What mod have you got? What tank have you got? What coils have you got? What wattage you vaping?
The
at?
only
What-
question I've
what
ever
batteries are you
asked a
using?
smoker is if I've borrowed a cigarette, taken a draw and gone, oh, what are you smoking? They go, oh, Sovereign. And you're like, okay, oh no, not to buy these because these taste horrid. Do you know, that's about as far as it went with a smoker. But yeah, you're right. E-liquids, different devices, different styles
There's
of
so
devices.
much.
It's a whole other universe. And this is why I said to you earlier on.
And also with vaping as well, it's like, oh, what are you vaping? Oh, I'm vaping, I don't know, Fruit Loops. Oh, can I have a try? Yeah, sure.
Exactly.
You wouldn't do that
It's
with
such a
someone
social
smoking a
thing.
cigarette. Oh, can I have a try on your cigarette? It's the same as yours, mate.
Yeah, exactly. That's one thing I take to heart and one thing I really pride myself on. And what we want to do as a company, and obviously with the store specifically as well, is build that community. I'm so grateful for people like yourself and other customers that have become friends over time. They've still stuck loyal when we've had no stock and when we've got stock. And that customer focus, that community we're trying to build is
Yeah.
something I think this year is we're going to really hit that home.
Yeah, but it's like as I was saying to you the other day when I first learned you'd come back. It's like how to explain it. It's like I went for a down period, mental wise,
Yeah,
and
we
it's
all
like
do.
just coming in here and talking to you, even if I didn't buy anything, it's just like that slight difference in my daily sort of just
Routine, I
repetitiveness,
suppose.
the
Yeah,
daily
yeah.
routine. Come down here on a weekend, have a chat, have a laugh, have a vape. I've done something different in my
So
week,
the
and
one,
it's
totally
improved
agree.
my week
And
already.
Yeah, honestly, that means so much to me, and I know it means so much to a lot of our managers.
It means
as
a lot
well.
to me as well.
We really do appreciate every single person that walks through the door, because, like I said earlier, you've got two types of vape shops. We're a business; we have to make money.
Yeah.
But that's not a be all and end all. We'd rather serve you for an actual purpose, tailor things to you, and help you on your journey. And I've had a few customers say similar things from this store, where store I used to work at. It honestly is flattering. Sometimes it's like, you do need something that's different. And one thing I found when you leave a vape shop as a consumer that had a good conversation, you've met other vapors, is you'll find yourself leaving and you're buzzing because it's like an endorphin rush. Do you know what I mean? It's like, oh, I've spoke to like-minded people or I've met new friends. Or that social element is unreal.
Well, yeah, it's like like again, now that you're back, I'm like, oh, what am I going to do on the weekend? Oh, my girlfriend, I'm not seeing my girlfriend this week. What am I going to do? I'm going to sit at home watching YouTube. I'm going to sit home gaming. I'm like, no, I'm going to go and see Jay. There's immediately, I
means
know,
a lot. Thank
I
you.
don't want to sound like soppy or anything,
No,
but like
no,
puts a
no.
smile on my face. Like, I'll go and talk to Jay.
I appreciate that, honestly.
It might sound stupid,
Not
but
at
it's
all.
like, it's something so simple.
Before I worked here, when this shop, specifically the Braintree store, was new, Danny was obviously the manager.
But I did the same sort of thing with Danny as well.
So did I, and that's what drew me in. I ended up spending 4 hours with Tom. He introduced me to the shop to help get my setup up because Tom put me on the wrong sort of setup, which he knew no different. I'm not throwing him under the bus. I was hooked, and by the end of the day, Danny offered me a job, and I was like, well, "This is weird." Like he was like, "Just start Monday, it's fine," and I'm like, "Okay, cool." I in that conversation, I did say I was looking for work. Wasn't even trying to fish, but we just got on, and it was that.
Lucky you, I tried that with Danny when I moved over. It didn't work.
I mean, to be fair, as much as I love Danny as a friend, and
not
I've known
coming
him
in
for a
here
few
again.
years, no, as much as I love him as a friend, I think he saw an opportunity to go, "Oh, this guy can talk to people. He can learn it, and then he can actually do all the things I don't want to do, and it frees up time for me to do what I want to do." So it is what it is. But it was just that social aspect. I've never experienced anything like that, and I want to be able.
I experienced that in France.
Oh, okay. So it's not just a store specific; it's an industry thing. If the stores are being run in a certain way,
Every vape shop that I've been in France has been welcoming, been open, very informative, not been pushy. And as I said earlier, I think that's why, at the beginning at least, France was it was
far
like
ahead.
industry leading.
yeah, fair enough.
It's like the French e-liquid manufacturers as well were the first to sign the document. They weren't pressured by the law. They said themselves, right, we're not
We wanna
having
do this, yeah.
whatever it was, diacetyl. We're not having alcohol. We're not having this, that, and the other in our e-liquids.
Well-
They were some of the first.
Something I will be touching on, especially later on during the year, is EL Science, obviously the other side of Phoenix.
Yeah.
I can honestly proudly say that we have some of the cleanest e-liquids on the planet. And that's because we work with companies like that and governments to help push the TPD.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, a lot of vapors, myself included, at the start was like, why are they trying to regulate it? And it was made to seem like the big bad wolf.
Yeah.
Now we've gone through that and all the stuff's happening in America, I can now sit here and go, I'm glad this company helped push with others to get that in place because we're not going to have the same issues.
The French e-liquid manufacturers, I think like Vincent dans les Vapes, and a few others were like the first ones to say like, no, we're not putting shit in our liquids.
Yeah, of course.
We're going to keep it propylene glycol, vegetable glycerin, flavorings. We're going to keep it like that.
Yeah, the nicotine.
And then they from what I know, they then contacted the other European manufacturers, and they all got, before the TPD was even there.
Yeah.
All the European e-liquid manufacturers were like, yeah, we agree with that.
Yeah.
We're going to sign that as well.
So as far as I'm aware, like I said, EL Science is part of a group of about 5 or 6 manufacturers that led the movement. And I'm pretty sure they're involved in it.
More than likely.
I'm actually going to get Sean on here, which is our director, who obviously runs EL Science and is a toxicologist. I want to get him sat where you are to have an episode. I think that'd be really knowledgeable and really interesting to see the sort of how it grew.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like I said, we're very lucky in this company to have that standard of stuff. So when I sell you a bottle of e-liquid, I know for a fact it's only got what it's meant to have in it. And that's peace of mind, I think, because a lot of people don't care. Do you know what I mean? They just don't. They just want cheap and taste good. That's it. And that's fine, but I would rather them know the risks and then they choose themselves than not know the risks. Do you see what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean, for me as a consumer, on the consumer side of things, I know that, like, hey, we're in the EU. Well, maybe not for too much longer, but I know that the British manufacturers are still going to adhere to that.
I'm going to be honest with you.
Likely,
doesn't matter what happens with Brexit.
No.
TPD is going to stay.
Yeah,
they're just going to.
Like, I know, like, you know, when some people come up to you in the street, like I've even had it at work. Like, oh, you don't know what shit you're vaping. You know, you don't know what you're vaping there. You don't know what's in it. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. There's 3 things in it. Well, how do you know that? Because it's law.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Do you know what's in your cigarette? Oh, it's nicotine, a bit of tar. Yeah, what about the 40,000 other chemicals that are in it, mate?
They were saying in a tailored cigarette,
what about the bleach that's in your cigarette?
Yeah, it's crazy. A lot of the tailored cigarettes and rolling tobacco, most of them are just dregs off of the leaves that they sweep up and put in a machine, rolls it up and goes.
Yeah. That's cost cutting.
Exactly. It makes more profit.
Most of the cost of a packet of cigarettes is tax.
Exactly. Well, especially in this country. I don't know what it's like around the world. I mean, Australia is ridiculous. They've gone ham.
The US and Australia is like $28 a packet.
Oh, and the rest. Like I've got an Australian customer who comes in obviously very periodically.
Didn't you say $40
for a pack of 20 cigarettes?
Australian dollars.
So they're outpricing their smokers for a health benefit.
Yeah.
Because no one wants to pay $40 for a pack. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
It's mad. But anyway, we've been chatting so long. I've thoroughly enjoyed it so far. But what we're going to do is we're going to take a little break and then we're going to come back with the main topic of today's podcast. So bear with us just 2 seconds. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Chilling with the Ohmies Podcast. We are here today with the birthday boy, Elliot. I can never say your last name.
Bastiani.
There we go, Bastiani. Obviously, I'm going to leave your socials in the link description below, so if people want to check out, feel free, because you do some amazing photography.
Cheers.
I want to get you and Wiggs on a podcast that's slightly not vape related. Maybe when I convert Wiggs, I know you guys can't see him, he's behind the camera. I'm slowly grinding him down to make the switch, and I know he wants to. It's just a money thing, which is fine. But when you've actually newly switched, we're going to get you both there and we can talk about cameras and vaping. So that podcast will be 4 hours long and it'll just be them two talking.
Oh, yeah, we'll be like discussing like
First time they met today.
Hours.
Well, it's the first time they met today after the shop shut and I couldn't shut them up.
It's like a house on fire already.
Exactly. Now, if you're wondering why I've got a bit of pink eye, basically I moved some light in, Wiggs punched me in the face. No, he didn't really.
No, he didn't.
For some reason, and for people who are listening on Spotify, I'm sorry you won't be able to see this. For some reason, my eye just decided to have something in it, and as far as I'm aware,
it's right. It won't be your eye. I mean, you'll be going, I don't like it.
Well, something's going wrong with my voice. But in today's main topic, right, there we go. Right, in today's main topic, we want to talk about DIY e-liquids, rebuildables, and maybe touch a little bit on batteries, depending on obviously. Judging on how the first section went, depends on how long we talk. But there's no real restrictions.
Going by the last podcast, we've still got about another hour left.
Yeah, exactly. So. Right, so you actually brought this to me as an interesting topic, and I really appreciate it. It helped me out this week. I really do appreciate it. So, in terms of DIY, I'll let you start this segment. I'll actually give it to you. Where do you want to start in this realm? Because I think me and you are going to have. We're going to agree on some things. We're going to disagree on a few as well. So, do you?
Where to start? Well, I think I touched on it earlier. Like I said, I think I said it in the video. Did I actually say it when we were recording?
I have no idea. Probably, maybe not.
Vaping's more technical than people.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Think. So we mentioned that earlier. So elaborate. What
people like you mentioned it the other day. Like it was on you and James on the podcast. You know, people coming and saying my tank's leaking. Well, you haven't put the coil in it.
Yeah.
It's a lot more. It's something to wrap your head around. It's not just. It's not like I said earlier. It's not like a cigarette. It's not just get it out of the packet, light it up, done, throw it away.
Yeah,
it's completely different. It's a lot more technical, and
however,
you can go even more technical.
Yeah. So just to touch on that, for anyone who's watching this who is either thinking about switching, it's not rocket science.
No, I'm not trying to put people off here at all.
But you can make it rocket science if you want. It has that freedom to do that. And I think that's where the rebuildable sort of side comes into it.
Yeah, definitely. If you're like interested in vaping, it's not just like I want to stop smoking.
That's how it starts normally. But then when you get into it, you're like, oh,
what I'm trying to say is like, some people it's I want to stop smoking.
Yeah.
They come in, they buy a starter kit, that's it.
Happy days.
And they
some
come in
just happy with that.
you teach them obviously how to use it, and every couple of weeks they come in for a new coil, you replace it for them. That's it. They're on their way.
Yeah, coils and e-liquid essentially
Other
is all
people
I should be here for.
Who maybe be a bit more technically inclined, a bit more interested in the tech side of it.
Yeah.
You can do a lot with it.
Oh, 100%. And like we're slightly touching on already, you've got the DIY e-liquid side, which is again you can make that as complex as you want or as simple as you want, and then you've got the rebuildables, which again as simple or as complicated as you want. And I find. Like I said, when you actually make the switch from cigarettes, because I think I speak to a lot of customers that are new to this and they go, I don't want to quit, I just want to cut down. In my head, I'm like, okay, that's where it starts. Then you'll know how easy it is. And then all of a sudden you won't be smoking because you'll go back to it and go, this tastes like poo. I don't like that. I like my blueberry and I don't need a cigarette. And it's more of a mental thing. But once you get into, you're used to using your device, you then go, oh, wait, you can make your own juice, or there's rebuildables, or there's shinier, bigger devices, and you just start getting into like a little sub area of vaping.
Yeah, definitely. And
that's it. You're in. Once you're locked in, there's nothing stopping you. You go through that cycle.
Yeah, definitely. It's like some people come in and say, "I want a coil."
Yeah.
And you know what they want. You get them what they want. They walk out the shop happy.
Yeah.
Some people that are getting more interest, they come in and say, okay, I want the 0.1 ohm mesh, or I want the 0.2 ohm quad, or I want the 1 ohm triple.
Yeah.
And then that's even also where it starts.
of course.
It's like, okay, so I'm running a 0.2 ohm coil at 80 watts, or with this and this and this, and then you're like, that's also where that sort of
100%,
mindset comes
I
in
feel
as well. Like,
sometimes what I fail to do is remember that. So when I've got like a few new customers, I'll set them up. I go into like my own little world, and I know what I'm going to say, how I'm going to say it, because I've been doing it for a long time now.
Yeah.
You kind of get into a little bit of a routine. But sometimes I misjudge the person, and that's not a bad thing. It's not like I slate them or whatever or undermine them. But sometimes I go, oh, in this starter kit, you get two different coils. They'll vape slightly different. And they look at you like, well, what do you mean they vape differently?
Yeah.
And I kind of forget. I'm like, what I usually say is you get two different coils, vape them both. They'll be slightly different. Whatever one you prefer, bring that one to me. Then we'll explain, because then they're starting to actually use their device and get to know it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think you're right, especially with a lot of different brands, different coils, different tanks. Like I think the Falcon's got like 9 different options alone. If you look on the back of a Falcon pack,
six or seven. Maybe with the Falcon King, I think they added
But
a
even
couple.
so-
But I think they removed a couple.
yeah, they probably have now. I know that the bamboo
Yeah,
ones
the
were
bamboo
recalled.
ones were weird.
Yeah, I don't know what they were doing with that, but you know, that's another story. But having that freedom and that option
Yeah.
and being new to it, like you said, you get people that go, what one's good? Because they're not, you know, and I always say to people, depends what you're after, what sort of style of vape you want, what do you want to vape at, and you kind of teach them over time.
Then it starts that conversation.
Yes,
Because
and
like,
then
do you
they-
want to blow clouds? Do you want flavour? Do you want it discreet? Do you
Yeah.
want it hot, cold?
Exactly. And I like
There's
the
a lot
fact-
of different
Yeah.
factors that get. I mean, it's quite a difficult sort of subject to get into and explain. You know.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm sort of going around in a big circle here, but there's like, you know, a lot of people as well now just think, oh, mouth to lung or direct. No, what about hot, cold, temperature control, variable wattage, variable voltage, you know, flavour, clouds.
I totally get that. What I try and do is simplify that for people.
Yeah,
until they're willing to.
of course.
Until they're willing to either ask questions or just know a bit more about it. So for me, there's a golden triangle, as there is with most industries: flavour, battery life, cloud.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Or style of vape. You can change. There's 2 of them always stay the same. One of them can always change. And it's trying to get someone who either wants flavour, battery life, or
I think discreetness is quite a,
yeah. Again,
one that they can sort of vape in an office meeting without being seen.
Oh, of course. That's what I'm saying. This is why why I will always rate pod systems. It's completely changed my vaping experience for a lot of different social situations as
Yeah.
well as at work. If I'm in the street, I will never blow a fat cloud because
I don't care.
I know, and that's fine. That is perfectly fine. But because I've been through that cycle, and I know the perception from, let's say, the general public don't smoke or vape,
Yeah.
don't do either. They just go, wow, that guy just blew a massive cloud.
I've actually been thanked before.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's mad.
I was walking down the street vaping, and I saw like a young mum with a young couple with their kid in a pushchair. Now,
Yeah.
I don't care if it's smoking or vaping. I'll try not to do either
I'm
around
glad
kids.
you said that. Yeah, I'm very much the
And
same.
I put my vape in the other hand, held it out, held the vape in, walked past, and they said, "Oh, thanks for that."
Yeah, that's just that is you as a person having consideration and respect for others. This is part of why I go down when talking about pod systems. When I'm out and about, I go, how much nicer would it be for other people if I'm just blowing the same amount of cloud as a cigarette, but I'm still getting satisfied,
Yeah.
rather than
I do understand that.
blowing a 300-watt cloud. And
I mean, I've
everyone's
also
like,
had
"Where
a lot.
are we?"
I'm not going to say I've had the flip side of the argument, but I've had like kids chasing me down the street, going, "Can I go on your vape?" And I'm like,
Oh,
"No."
God.
When I before I'd even moved over here, I was just visiting my girlfriend,
Yeah.
and like I had this group of like literally like 11-year-olds, like a couple of kids on their bicycles, like literally follow me through the park up in Braintree, and they're like, "Can I try your vape?" "No, why not?" "Well, you're a kid."
Yeah.
"Yeah, but
crazy.
so I said it's got nicotine in it, and well, you're under 18, and I'm like, I said,
They're
"What?"
kids. They're not
I was
going to
like,
understand.
I
do you know what
know.
I know how
But I was
frustrating it
like,
is.
no, I'm not letting you try my vape. "Oh, well, my brother or my boo let me try his."
Cool,
I don't
that's
care.
their problem. Yeah.
I was like, I don't care. I don't know you.
Yeah.
You're on bicycles. You could just steal it for all I know.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, I'm not letting you try my vape. And these kids were pestering me for like the whole way through the park. I was like, leave me alone.
That's just Braintree in a nutshell.
No, I
mate.
know.
Whether it had been a
I've
bottle of
heard
beer,
kids
whether it had been a
saying some
vape, whether it had been
pretty-
drugs, or anything in this town, they would have followed you.
Well, yeah, don't want to go off topic and just talk about Braintree, but I've
Oh, that could
I've
be a
heard
podcast in
kids like
itself.
talking about like adult topics walking around town.
Yeah,
I'm like, you're
it's-
like 10. What the hell do you know
Honestly,
about that? Like,
this town, I spent a lot of my life here. I've grown up knowing
it's a
the change.
cesspool.
It is a place.
It's not far off a cesspool, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it's like the ghetto.
No,
but,
no, it's not
do
quite
you know what I
there
mean?
yet.
But at the same time, it's just a different type of people here. You get a mixture. Let's say that you get a mixture. We've got some very nice people, we've got some very horrible people, and you have people in between.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So we keep going on these tangents. I'm thoroughly enjoying, by the way. So let's go back into say like DIY liquid.
Yeah.
So for myself, I have not a daily barrel. It's cut down a hell of a lot recently, especially with the US flavor bans and things like that, which hasn't been the greatest of things to be working in the industry, even though the UK is very strong.
It's a load of guff.
But one thing I've noticed is I get less and less people asking me, why don't you do DIY stuff? Or, I don't come into shops because they're too expensive and you can't compete with online. And if I do DIY...
From a consumer standpoint, I gave up.
Oh, okay.
Because in France, you used to go into the shop and say, do you do DIY? No. There was that same chain that I was talking about earlier, Vapo Smoke Today. They were the only chain that stocked DIY stuff, and they actually sort of like, I think they like ended up buying a laboratory that did like DIY bases and stuff.
That's cool.
But like when I came to England, I was like, do you do DIY? No. Do you do DIY? No. Do you do DIY? No. I think the main reason for you is because you do your own liquids. You're not going to stock DIY.
Well, yeah, I mean, for Phoenix, I don't want to speak on behalf of the whole company, but from my knowledge, we have our own in-house brands, and our e-liquids are a very competitive rate.
Definitely.
In town, store-wise, definitely the cheapest we've got. And the quality standard for the price is outstanding. It genuinely is. And like I said, I don't just want to big up where I work. You guys know I love my work and what industry I'm in. I'm so thankful that we've got high quality like products.
Oh, definitely,
price.
definitely. I'll back up that claim.
Oh, I appreciate it. But
like
the other
peach
side
and
of
passion
it,
fruit is. Oh,
to be fair,
so good.
it is
the
a
peach
popular
and passion
seller.
fruit is just
that in that range. The afternoon delight range, the lemon drizzle cake as well. If you're into your desserts, it's
iced tea peach. It's also
That's
another good
well,
one.
yeah.
My fruity flavors.
But the other aspect for a lot of companies is no money in it. So they go, no money.
There isn't.
Because, for example, for anyone who don't know, you can when you use your DIY e-liquids, you're buying and making a batch of 500 mil to a litre minimum.
Well, personally, that's
minimum.
not me.
No, but I know a lot of people. My hairdresser or barber, really nice guy, massive into vaping. He comes in here for his coils and his device upgrades. But if you start stocking DIY stuff like the raw concentrates, I'll come in and buy them. And I don't even mind paying more.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to convince him that it's not even from a business standpoint. In my position in this specific company, knowing what we produce, for us, DIY is such a bad thing because you know what's in there because it's listed, but you don't at the same time. Like, you don't know if it's played with. You are obviously left to make it yourself. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
It's not in a clean lab. It's not as regular. Some of the concentrates are still they're obviously regulated, but some of the concentrates will have
just about to say, I don't agree with you there. But
they are regulated, but I mean, like, I don't know. It's hard to pinpoint, but you're buying about in bulk. We are never going to compete with that price because it works out like, a couple of quid for 100 mil because you're making such a big amount of it. Of course, you're not going to be able to
litre of base is like $8.50.
Exactly.
So
exactly that.
100 mils like what?
On the spin of that,
or something
exactly. On the spin of that, from a consumer, I totally understand it. It's cheaper. It lasts longer.
Yeah.
For me, it doesn't taste as good.
No.
It just doesn't taste as good because without no disrespect to you personally, but in general, you're not a toxicologist. It's not your job. Like, you're literally getting a company going, here are the raw components, whack it in a bottle, shake it, leave it, and it will taste all right. It will get you by, and it's cheap, not a problem. But you're missing out on the quality, the actual standard quality. Yes, you're paying more, but I always say this: the safety of it is just knowing what's in there, knowing what you can get for the price. It's just I don't know. For me,
for the longest period, I was basically a at-home vapor.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
To be frank, I'd go into vape shops for the social aspect. I wouldn't barely, if ever, buy anything. I might buy a mod. Bought like a couple of mods from shops. That's about it. Just from like where I was with no job.
Yeah.
DIY and rebuildables was no-brainer. You could get 20 meters of Canthal off of GearBest for £2.
So I'm saying rebuildable side is a completely different argument, and I totally from this point on the different subject, I totally agree.
I think both are interconnected because it's
they do go hand in hand.
It's hand in hand. It's but I have to say, like, the cost of doing it at home makes vape shops seem stupid.
Of course it does.
From an outside perspective looking in, you could say I could make 400 coils out of that $2 spooler wire.
Yep.
all I need is 10 quid worth of tools. I need a wire cutter. I need a pen thing that I can wrap it around.
And across a long
and
period of
that's
time, you've saved so much money. And like I said, I totally understand that.
Cotton, you can get like a kilo of it off like Amazon for like 20p.
I mean, if you're really struggling, choose cotton buds. I wouldn't advise that, by the way, but it's cotton. Do you know what I mean? I've actually known people to
You were talking about really stupid stuff. I saw a Russian YouTuber make
have a Pringle tin plugged into the wall.
He used his own
that's
pubes as his wick.
incredible. Wow. That's
He snipped off his own pubic hair and used them as a wick.
that
and he
is
vaped
disgusting. Oh, man.
And he was coughing for about 10 minutes and he was laughing his head off at the same time.
Anything for views.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, I'd say Russia. Just
Yeah,
Russia, full stop, done.
Just Russia. I love Russia, though. The stuff that comes out is crazy.
Crazy.
I love it.
But yeah, I mean, just like in DIY, you could get like I said, like £8 for a bottle of a litre of. I mean, this isn't going like full on DIY. This is like regulated. I'd say regulated DIY. You've got like non-regulated DIY. You go on eBay, you buy a litre of nicotine from wherever.
Yeah, exactly.
For 60 quid. You go on eBay, you buy a bottle of like 20 litres of vegetable glycerin for like 5 quid.
Yeah.
And you buy your propylene glycol, then you mix it together. That's the non-regulated side. That's what I've never done. I've never trusted that.
I just don't agree
never,
with it.
ever done that.
It's a disaster waiting to happen.
Yeah.
That's what that is.
Yeah. And I mean, even going on that as well, like disaster waiting to happen, like the nicotine, it's just nicotine. You get that if that goes on your skin, you're almost in hospital.
Fact with nicotine. So before the TPD, a lot of companies used to buy big drums. Like, I mean, humongous drums. Like if you've seen Breaking Bad, them sort of drums, pure, not 100, 72 milligram pure nicotine, liquid form. It's that strong that had to be handled in hazmat suits.
Yeah.
And if you inhale that, just inhale it, you would die. Like that's how dangerous nicotine can be in its rawest form. Yeah. So having the TPD, meaning a lot of the big manufacturers had to source their own nicotine from different ways, and it wasn't really an issue because we'd already some companies had put things in place. But I don't think the consumer understands how dangerous nicotine can be.
I mean, like I said, like if you do that, you've got to know what you're doing.
Yeah, you've got to be a toxicologist. Do you know what I mean?
Almost,
yeah,
almost.
You've got to know your stuff.
Because I mean, like. I never touched that side. I never went down that road. I never, even if you accidentally kicked it over and it went over your leg, as soon as it touches your skin, you absorb it.
Yep.
And you absorb
nicotine
like
poisoning.
72 milligram of nicotine. You're like basically in hospital within 10 minutes.
Yep.
You know, you've got like literally call 911. I've just spilled nicotine on myself.
Yeah.
I went the regulated route. So, they had brand labels. I buy.
So like Flavor Boss shots, that sort of style, where you just get like a branded label with the concentrate and you put the stuff in.
Yeah. Then you get a litre of pre-mixed vegetable glycerin, propylene glycol, 70-30, 30-70, whatever.
You pick your ratio,
whatever.
Yeah.
That's pre-made in a bottle. And then you buy your nicotine shots, which are like the same you get from, which is the same you give out with your short fills.
Yeah. Sorry.
Buy them at 20 a time for like 18 quid, something like that, 20 quid.
Yeah.
And then you buy the flavours.
But yet again, like I said, the main concern is that that's all regulated. So I understand that. And for an average consumer looking to get into it, if they're going to do it, regulate.
Go the regulate. Don't even bother going like the full-on, like Breaking Bad method. Don't even try it.
I've had conversations with people where they've genuinely brewed like 20 litres of e-liquid in their bathtub and selling it to their friends. And I'm like, you're a moron. Like, it's not a clean room. If you're doing it in a bottle, like you said, and you've got literally all you've got to do is empty the contents into one thing.
Well, use a syringe. I used the syringe.
You're eliminating a lot of that.
But
even so, the safety side of it's like, well, you've got to be in a clean room because I don't want to contaminate with anything. And then you've got people making it in a bathtub.
Yeah.
Like, oh, come on.
I mean,
come on.
If you're using pre-made Nick shot, pre-done Nick shot, pre-done base, there's no harm in it, really.
Yeah, they're eliminating a lot of that harm.
I mean, they recommend you wear latex gloves just for handling a short fill.
Yeah, of course.
So, I mean, you wear your latex gloves or whatever, and you've got to know your whatever. So normally it's 1 Nick shot per 60 mil.
Yep.
There you go. So you put in 40 millilitres of base, your 10 mil Nick shot, and then you've got your 10 mil for your aroma, which between 10 and 18%.
Yeah, depending on what you're going for,
depending on the flavour.
There's a few that are only like 2% because they're super concentrated.
Yeah, but I mean...
They're more added with stuff.
Like even doing 18% on some flavours, they're just I've found, like, especially in the last couple of years, like the short fill flavors just outclassed.
I genuinely think
20 times over.
This is the thing, and like I've got a
because
good
you've also
friend
got
of
the
mine.
steeping time,
Yeah,
fruit
right.
flavors and stuff like that. You can pretty much vape them straight. You shake it and vape it.
Yeah. Anything
Tobacco
that-
flavors,
creams,
creamy flavors,
desserties,
dessert flavors.
6 to 8
You need
weeks
to
minimum.
leave that in a fridge for like 2, 3, 4 weeks
Yeah,
plus.
it's crazy. I've only had one experience with DIY. It was with Danny. He was getting some to try some new flavors because I think one of his friends of a friend, it was his company, so he wanted to support that company. Not a problem with that. And they had a Rice Krispie cake. It's called Rice Krispie Man or something.
Yeah.
And I forgot I bought it. It turned up like 2 weeks later. All right, like you said, everything was pre-made. I just had to bung it in a bottle and leave it. I looked at the steep time. I was like, 8 weeks.
Yeah.
So I've just bought half a litre of juice and I still can't vape it for 8.
Yeah.
I would rather...
And then you go down your vape shop and buy a couple of short fills to tide you over.
So you still...
4, 6 short
Exactly.
fills to tide you over.
So you're not out... You're actually out of pocket because you spent twice the amount. You've got
Yeah.
all of your base, which on long term would save you money, but that 8 weeks where you're buying short fills, you pretty much break even.
I think the thing as well, like now as well, you've got delivery time. Nowhere in the UK stocks DIY as far as I'm aware. Not here at least. So you got delivery time.
Yeah, you got delivery times as well.
At least a couple of days.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
in the meantime, you think, oh crap, I've run out of juice. You pop down the local vape shop and you get
you
yourself
do.
a short fill. And
Yeah.
then you're like, well, I don't need the DIY anymore. I've got my short fill.
I remember I completely forgot about it. Danny said, don't worry, I'll mix it all up for you because I'm doing mine. I'll do them together, leave them steep. Mine's 4 weeks, yours is 8. I've put a note in my calendar so it will tell me when it's ready.
Yeah.
No problem. I genuinely forgot about it. And then 8 weeks comes along and Danny comes to work. I come in for my shift and he hands me half a litre of this juice. And I was like, well, what's that? He goes, that's your juice you bought like in May. And I'm like, September. Like, I completely forgot about it. I've bought copious amounts of juice between then.
Yeah.
Tried it, smelt amazing, vaped like air. I was like, I've left that 8 weeks or even longer than 8 weeks. It's still not great. I don't know. For me, I'm a man of convenience.
They are the odd flavour.
Yeah, you
like
get
your
a few
typical raspberry.
Yeah.
Like something like raspberry, that mixes bloody well.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. Like the base flavors for fruits and stuff, raspberry ice, strawberry ice. There are some gems out there.
Yeah,
I'm
of
not
course
gonna lie. Like from that French website I mentioned earlier, Le Petit Vapoteur, but because they do their own stuff as well.
Okay.
Some of them, like the ones I just mentioned, you shake it, vape it, they're bloody fantastic.
Yeah, of course.
And not many places just stock, especially in the UK with the craze of dessert flavors and stuff like that.
Yeah.
A lot of places don't just stock basic flavors,
Yeah, of course
basic
they do.
stock.
Yeah.
I don't think they do. Not a lot of them just stock the basic. I mean, you're a bit different because
Yeah, I've
EL
got to come at this
Science
from a
does
different
make
angle.
you got
I
the cedar.
Pineapple,
Yeah.
strawberry. You know, we do have our
But
standalone
the thing I
flavours.
find is though the DIY liquids nail the flavor a bit more.
What, the standalone flavours?
Yeah. Because I find that a lot of them end up like not to bash your company, but a lot of them end up like quite candy-y. No one can do grape.
Yeah.
No one can do grape.
I'll vouch for you on that.
The only
Grape
time I've
is
ever had a
very
grape,
hard to get
the
right.
only time I've ever had a black or white grape that was any good was DIY.
Is that Lost Arts by any chance?
It was
'Cause
a Belgian company like Monk
tell you what.
something or other.
I'll get you some
Monk
Lost
Vapes or
Arts.
something.
I'll get you some Lost Arts white grape. Change your life. It's so good.
If it tastes as good as
Honestly,
the
it's so
DIY
good.
grape I had, then
I would say
I'll
you'd
admit
need to
defeat.
drip it. You'd need to drip it
Yeah.
because it will destroy sub-ohm coil, but it tastes amazing. It just does.
But the one I made obviously doesn't have sweetener in it. It was just a flavouring.
Yeah, of
but
course.
It was, fantastic.
Now, like I said, I understand from a consumer point of view. From me, rather than the professional look, from a personal view, I just think that this country is like specifically is, and all the sort of I'm looking at all our guest juices at the moment, as well as our in-house stuff. The nation's come so far now.
Oh yeah, vaping's advanced so
If
much.
someone's like, I've got a very good friend of mine. I only see him very often, not very often because we're busy and whatnot. Every time I see him, I've got him into vaping. He was into vaping, but I've kind of helped him along his journey a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, I would come into the store, but it's just too expensive. And I'm like, we charge £10 for a short fill. That's not like thinking, industry size. I'm like, well, we're in a shot. That's pretty good going with 3 nick shots. That's good going.
Not when you think that you can get a short fill of 60ml DIY for like £3.
But but this is the thing. Like,
You're not going to get that from a shop.
you're not because there's so much that
Apart
goes into it.
from-
But he'll go on eBay and buy.
I would not trust eBay.
But he'll buy 9.99 100ml short fills of like Taffy Man and things like that. It smells great, looks great. He gave me one the other day.
$9.99.
Yeah.
Oh, short fill. Sorry,
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about aromas.
So I looked at the back, and I don't know if you've ever read a juice from California, but their warning labels.
I would not trust US or Malaysian or any juices like that.
And I literally, he
I
said,
only
you
vape
guys,
the EU
it's
stuff.
really nice. You can have that if you want. I just grabbed the bowl, turned it around. I went, nah, I'm all right. He went, what do you mean? I said, it smells good, but I'm not vaping that. And he's like, why? I was like, and I say this to a lot of people, I feel because of what this company's doing, I've become very much an e-liquid snob. Because and not saying ours are amazing, I'm just saying that we do have some good flavours. There are still other companies and other e-liquid brands that are incredible. I'm not discrediting it. But I've got used to, one, seeing the Ale Science logo, which is just force of habit.
Yeah. But
looking at the ingredients and going, this one's got 4, this one's got 16. I don't trust half of those, so I'm just going to go with the simpler one.
I have tried some American juices, but you can taste the shit that's in them.
You can.
You can taste the sweetener and the creamy additive and the whatever else.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get those additives for DIY, but you can regulate them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like menthol crystal. They recommend you only put 1 or 2 drops in. Now I'm a menthol addict, and I'll put like half a bottle of menthol crystal in my mint juices, so they blow your head off. It's like crunching 20 tree ball.
Oh God.
But you can regulate them. The US juices, you don't know what percentage of what's in there.
And do you know one thing that makes me laugh is I've always, as a kid, I've said this to a lot of people. As a kid, I've always looked at America and gone, the American
they always
dream.
go over the top
with everything. But I was like, America's the place to be, and I want to move there eventually. As I got older, and I look at their FDA, and I'm like, they do whatever they want. Like they're not even thinking of the people. They're just like, whatever's convenient for us, we'll do that. Like, do you know what I mean? Their FDA regulations.
Whatever earns us more money.
Yeah, it's obviously a free market capitalist society.
Where all this flavour ban stuff stems from, really, but we're not going to get into that.
No, exactly. Like, we've got the TPD. I'm very proud and I'm so grateful.
Oh no, I only vape EU juices.
Yeah.
I will not vape anything. I've seen people come into vape shops and like, I got this juice from Malaysia. I'm not touching it.
But that's what I'm saying. You're slowly getting into what I call the e-liquid snob because you're like, well, ain't TPD? I ain't touching it. Whereas
it's
before
not just
the TPD
that, but I know that I can trust the EU juices. Like you look on the label, what does it say? Propylene glycol, mango and flavorings, some sweetener in this one, and vegetable glycerin. I could look on the back of any of your bottles up there. I see the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Except maybe the sweetener.
Yeah, I think there's depending on what you pick
Depending
up.
on which one.
Yeah,
but you know what's in them.
Exactly.
Maybe not which percentage
Whereas
is.
before the TPD, people would vape anything. They don't care. As long as it tastes good and it was cheap, they'd buy it. And in this country, we've still got customers that are in that. Well, I say customers like they come here all the time, but just people, vapors in general. That's what I meant to say. I'll get there in the end.
We might get to the point of this whole thing in a minute as well.
They get to they get themselves in a routine. Now, I understand. I've been on that side where you're trying to get through to payday. You go to places like B&M and you go, I am so skint, I don't want cigarettes, can't afford it, I'll buy £1 e-liquid. I'll get whatever.
Oh, I've done that before as well. I've run out, I've forgotten my short fill at home and I've had to pop up the garage and I've thought, oh God, I don't want to vape this. It's 6 milligram, but it's something. Yeah.
I always say to people, I'm not going to have a go at you or belittle you for doing that. I've been there myself. I'm just saying long term, it would be better for your health if you actually picked regulated products that are... You pay for quality, essentially. Now, I'm not saying that, if I want a certain set of socks, I'm going to pay 60 quid on them because you pay for quality. No, that's ridiculous.
Apple.
But when it comes to the e-liquid sort of side of things, there's definitely a factor. I think that you do pay for quality to a degree. Some companies, I might mention any in particular, but there's some companies that really overcharge for their juice. It's good, but it's not what they charge for. And it's vice versa. I think typically you pay for quality. I mean, you've even said it, the taste of short fills now is just better than DIY.
Well, I think it sort of always was, but you could
get by.
Like I said, with DIY, there are some flavours that work, there are some that don't. Like Red Aster is my prime example. No one can nail Red Aster. No one.
To be fair, we've given it a go, and I've had a lot of customers try it and say it's not the same. No. It's different. It still tastes good in its own right.
Red Aster, no one can nail the original tea juice Red Aster. But a lot of people said it was too sweet and it had far too much. And after a while of vaping it, it gets a bit chemically.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
In DIY, you can get the flavour in and you can put as much as you want or as little as you want in it. You can get your favourite juices if they're available as an aroma. and modify them to your taste. I think that's a plus point for DIY.
Yeah, definitely. Now, I know...
As long as the companies are putting out, like, this
Yeah.
is that flavour, this is that flavour.
Yeah,
You
of
can
course.
get them for, like, €3 or whatever, or £3 for an aroma.
Yeah.
I think when companies start saying, well, if you want the short fill aroma as an aroma, we're going to charge you £6 for it. No, I might as well build a short fill for £3 more.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Because some companies charge, like, an extortionate amount for the aroma. You're like, I want the aroma, but I don't want to pay £15 for their short fill. But then they charge £6 to £8 for the aroma, and you're like, once I've included the bottle, the VG, the Nick shot, I might as well just buy the short fill.
Exactly.
Because that whole aroma bottle's going in my 50ml, which is going to take my 50ml bottle up to like £11.
Yeah.
You're like,
So
I
for the
might
sake
as
of
well
a couple of
just
quid,
bought the short
buy the
fill.
short fill. Exactly.
Whereas some, like Red Aster, if you're like, oh, this is nice, but it's got too much aniseed in it, or oh,
At
this
least
is
you can
too
remix
sweet,
that.
just put a little less in.
Yeah, of course. No, I'll give you that. Now,
It's
one
hit
of
or
our-
miss. That's
Yeah,
what I'm
of
trying
course
to.
it is,
The
yeah.
whole point of this is like it's hit or
and
miss. Like short fills have come a hell of a long way, especially
yeah.
in price.
Of course they have.
Especially in price. Like
Yeah.
the main reason I avoided short fills was because I'd walk into a shop and go, "How much do you want for that 50ml?
No,
oh, it's £23.
Yeah, no.
Sod off.
No. Yeah,
I don't,
no, totally.
I'm not paying £23 for 50ml when
Yeah.
when for £50 I could get 30 different aromas, 2 litres of base, and 40 Nick shots.
Yeah,
that would
100%.
last me 4 months, and
Yeah.
that bottle's going to last me a week for the same price.
I totally agree.
But now that short fills, like you say, some of them like $9.99,
Can't grumble at that.
or even the ones you've reviewed, the 88 vapes. 88 vapes are like DIY price.
Yeah, again, no disrespect to 88, I've got a very good relationship with those. And out of the ones I've tried, I'm really impressed with. I
I've
know
tried a few of them.
there's a
and I have
couple
to
of-
say, like, I've not yet tried the ones that you tried, the second lot, like the rhubarb and one, stuff like that.
Honestly, it is good.
But like the strawberry kiwi is definitely a standout. Like £5 on their website with a Nick shot.
Yeah.
That you can't even get that for DIY price.
It's crazy,
you buy
isn't
the aroma, it's £3.50. You buy the bottle, it's £1.
There you go.
There you go. 88 vapes has already beaten you on price.
It's mad.
So if companies in the next few years can bring, I'm not going to say it's going to happen, but if they could bring their short fill prices down a
I think over
little bit
time,
more,
what will happen is they'll start running more deals. So you get more pound per e-liquid.
yeah,
Do you know what I
like
mean?
with the Phoenix 3 for 2.
Yes, which we'll be bringing back soon. I'm just waiting for authorization. Okay, I'm trying to do that.
But like that makes it like you think, you know, I'm getting worse. I'm getting a better deal, but I'm getting maybe slightly worse flavor on kiwi or something or cactus or whatever.
Yeah.
So I might as well buy a short fill because it's £8.
Now,
Or it
one
works
thing...
out at £8. You're like, no brainer. It's a short fill. Might as well buy the short fill.
Exactly.
Plus, it's from a shop.
Yeah.
I know the guy behind the counter.
Yeah.
I know that he's not going to sell me a load of crap.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a lot of things that go into it.
Benefits. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, there was one thing. One of our recent subscribers is actually one of our flavour guys, Dan Gordon, and he commented
really?
on last week's podcast. So shout out, Dan, if you are watching. I do really appreciate
Sorry.
what you do. He's really good. He's great. Good at taking criticism now, and not like he gets a lot, but it's more, there'll be a select group of managers which think about doing these flavours. Give them a go. Give us your feedback. We'll work on it.
I would like. You can never have too many flavors because
Exactly.
that's one thing that
This
I'll give.
week, honestly,
I'll give the DIY sort of side of things credit for, because if you go into a shop and it's like £15 for a short fill and it's, I don't know, mango and kiwi,
yeah.
you could go and buy that for £6 DIY. Try it. You get an idea
Yeah.
of what it's going to taste, and you think, yeah, it's all right. You go in the shop, buy the short fill, you enjoy it.
Yeah, of course.
So there are pros, but there are also cons to DIY.
I
The
think
amount
the-
of flavors the amount of aromas you can get in DIY, I think blows short fills out of the water.
Well, the thing is, them aromas are available for short fills, but companies haven't put them in mass production to sell on the shelf.
Short fills are also mixtures of flavors.
Of course they are. Yeah,
DIY allows you to
can be
make
standalone. Yeah.
DIY allows you to mix flavors together.
Yeah.
But if you want like a specific flavor from a specific brand, like if I say I want Homeboy, rhubarb, and raspberry, and
Yeah.
with the orange blossom in there, no way in hell am I going to make that DIY.
Yeah.
No way in hell.
And I think that's where short fill companies have got clever, because they've gone, all right, well, rather than lose money to DIY, we'll make our flavours more complex, so it's impossible to replicate unless you know the formula and the recipe to a T. But yeah, what I was going to say about Dan is Phoenix did, this is before TPD, and I think TPD did change the whole DIY market, because a lot of the regulations come in there. A lot of people were like, well, we can't do that aroma anymore, can't do any of that, because certain chemicals we can't use anymore. Prime example, my favourite ever Phoenix e-liquid has ever been done since this company's been going was banana sundae.
Oh.
And the only reason I'm saying it, right, is because Dan knows that every time I see him, which is very rarely, but every time I see him, the first thing I go is, where's banana sundae? Where's the TPD banana sundae?
God,
And he's like,
banana.
we just physically can't make it because the chemicals needed will not pass TPD anymore.
Ugh, banana flavour.
And it's like, oh man. So there are pros and cons. If I could find a decent banana sundae concentrate,
it would probably be from America or Malaysia, but then you're going back to like, what the hell is in this liquid?
Not trusting it. And I think that's what it was. I think one of the suppliers of one of our juices, which would have been banana sundae, was like an outsourced part
I can't
of the
even believe you
concentrate.
vaped banana flavour something. That's
Genuinely,
just
mate,
disgusting.
it was bananas and ice cream, and it was amazing. I know you don't like bananas, but the ice cream side of it was nothing like
banana,
I've ever tried.
People cannot nail the flavour. Like with grape, you can't nail the flavour of an actual banana. It's always that fake flavour, that fake banana flavour.
Do you actually
actual
like
bananas? Yeah. You give me anything banana flavoured, it's disgusting.
I was about to say, so we've got foamy bananas in the Candyland.
No.
Which is actually,
but I'm not a fan of,
and it's really, really spot on.
Yeah, but that's because a lot of manufacturers, when they use banana flavouring, use that.
Yeah,
I've heard it's from a banana that went extinct or something or other, but
it was, yes.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
The actual
but it's
flavour
like
from that is
it's not banana.
Yeah,
it's not banana flavour. Like I've tried some banana splits because it was mixed with the chocolate, and the sickliness of the chocolate got counteracted with the sweetness of the banana, and it was okay.
Fair enough.
But no. Like, I'm not a huge fan of dessert. I know I bought a couple of dessert flavours from you last week.
No, I know you did. Yeah.
They did smell and dab fantastically. So,
okay, so we've kind of derived into just DIY only. So let's go more into the rebuildable side.
Yeah.
So like I said already, I think from a consumer's perspective, rebuildables can be very nice on your pocket because you're going to get a lot of coils for your money, a hell of a lot of coils for your money.
If you can be bothered to put in the effort and the work and the brain power.
This is exactly what I was going to say, why I personally don't bother with them. So if I'm going to get a rebuildable coil, do you know what I do? I buy a pre-made coil. Because yes, it might be the same price as a coil, but it's going to last me 3 times the amount. I can flash them, I can clean them up and do what I need to do.
Not recommended to flash them, but...
Yeah, some you can get away with, some you can't. But I have not got the time, energy, or brain power to sit there and go, I'm going to make a coil out of this spool of wire. For some people that are into it, I've got nothing against it.
I think a lot of people are put off when like the America, like again, come back to the Americans, like they went crazy.
Yeah, they went
like they were like quadruple twisting this, that, and the other, and you're like, that takes like 45 minutes to make a coil. Like,
however,
there are easy ways of making coils.
Of course there are, but some of the Instagram pictures I've seen of coils, they are beautiful with a macro lens. They like heat them up so they're like iridescent as well.
Yeah, you want to
they
follow
look amazing,
mods.
But I'm not spending an hour and a half to make a coil for one picture, and then it probably not vape right or not deliver the what I want.
I mean, you've seen crazy stuff. Have you seen the stovetop?
Exactly. You've got some
or like the one that looks like a barbecue grill, and they put like a little slice of pepperami on top, and it cooked it.
Oh mate,
see, like, they make crazy stuff.
They
like
do
stuff
make
that
art from it.
Oh yeah. They make like stupid, like memeable stuff as well. Of course. I mean, if you're like, but you got to put the effort into it.
Of course we have.
Like you've got to like at least know what Ohm's law is, especially if you're going to go mech and rebuildable. Yeah, that's where I'll say like, don't even bother unless you're willing to learn.
And that's one thing I found a lot of, like, let's say the average consumer. I found a lot of my average customers that want to try rebuildables will buy a dripper, pre-made coils, and whack on a regulated device. Because in their mind, they go, well, I'm backed up by a safety chip. So if anything does go wrong, it's going to tell me what's wrong and it won't fire. And I highly recommend that. Yeah. Even myself, I've got a bit of knowledge in that sort of area. I will openly admit I should learn more.
I would safely say I know what I'm doing. And like I said earlier, I've got a mech mod. I've never used it. I don't trust it. I just don't trust it. There's nothing between your atomizer or your tank and the battery. You could basically put the tank on the battery, wrap a wire around from one end to the other, and that would vape.
Exactly. It's for me that's scary.
Yeah.
It's just there's nothing.
The main thing is the safety on them. Like you twist a tiny little bit of metal and it locks the fire pin. What if that comes undone? You start firing it in your pocket. That's where a lot of these like horrendous vape horror stories come from, and why people were scared of vaping. Oh, it's going to blow up in my pocket. No, that's because a guy that didn't know how to vape was sold a mech mod.
I genuinely think that 99.9% were user error rather than device error. User error.
I'm not even going to say user. I'm going to say vape shop error.
Oh, so you're putting on the vape shops? Okay.
Well, I think A lot
Oh,
of
no,
these,
of course.
I think, especially in America, because a lot of these stories stem from America.
Yeah,
again, I think these guys went into vape shops and said, "I want something that blows massive clouds.
Yeah.
Give me the best thing you've got for blowing massive clouds."
Yeah.
And the guy's gone, "Okay, bam, there's a mech mod."
I can see
I
that
would
happening. Yeah, yeah.
believe that.
Yeah,
myself.
I can see it
believe
happen.
that. Well, it's not that I would believe it. I do believe that that's what happened.
I would say
Because
that
some of the
there's
vape
a
shops, like
percentage
you
of that.
said, like they just want to sell stuff.
Yeah, of course.
They've got a
Yeah, yeah.
£300
Tube.
V-God
Yeah.
mech mod on the table.
Of course, they're going to want to sell that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there you go, mate. It's $300. Oh, wow. Is it going to give me massive clouds? Yeah, it will.
Been a slow day. 300 quid in one sale. Okay.
Yeah.
Makes me look like I'm doing my job.
Yeah.
No, I get that. I get that. I wouldn't say all of it is
No,
that. I'd
not
say a
all of
lot.
it.
I
Not all
would
of
say
it,
there
no.
is a percentage of that, 100%. But I do think that
Obviously,
extra,
there are some people that have gone, I want to blow massive clouds, but they've not gone to a vape shop. They've gone online and bought one.
Yeah, that's another route as well.
They've gone, oh, just make some coils. There we go. Don't care. Put the battery in.
Bang. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I totally get it. I just don't agree with mechs. I think they look pretty. I wouldn't use it as a daily driver. I don't really use them myself. But in terms of, see, for me, in terms of rebuildables, they're not. I'm a man of convenience, hence pod systems mainly. They're compact, got a lot better battery life.
Not great for the planet.
No, that is the one con from them. I do want some companies to change. I mean, that's why with the Mulus, I quite like it because it's just normal Nautilus coils. So you can use any of that range inside there. Not too bad. But for example, I've recently done a review on the Coco. I love the Caliburn and the Caliburn Coco. But the one con it has is the disposable. Well, I say disposable. They're refillable, obviously, but the disposable pots because it's a lot of waste. It just is a lot of waste.
Yeah. That's
rebuildables,
probably a different topic for a different time.
Yeah,
here,
it
isn't
probably is, to be fair. I think this whole industry as a whole, not just picking on you, but the whole industry where you need to reduce package waste, boxing waste, everything.
It's
There's so
funny.
much.
It's funny because
Lot of
yesterday I
plastics.
saw a thing on Reddit that was like, if recycling is all about economics, if we put more money into it, we could recycle everything. And I think that's perfectly true.
Yeah.
Because like they refuse to recycle Nick Shop bottles because they've got the nicotine in them. Well,
You steam-
spend a bit more money in them, steam them, recycle it. Job done. There's
See,
like,
one of my friends
God
wanted
knows
to.
how much waste saved a year.
Well, one of my friends wanted to start a business that did that. He would literally buy Nick shots
I
that
would
that
fund
were
that.
empty.
I would fund that.
He would environmentally friendly way of sterilizing them to then take them to a bottle bank to be recycled properly. And he would just charge for that service from, say, manufacturers or vape shops for waste or whatever. He wanted to do that. And I think that's a
I'd
typically
fund that.
viable. I think that's brilliant. There's a gap
Yeah.
in the market for that. Like you said, is our companies willing to put the money into that to get it up and
Well, it's
running?
more the recycling companies as well,
Yeah, of course. They probably.
not just the vape manufacturers.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
I think they have
they're
a
PET.
slight.
They recycle.
Of course,
But
they
it's just the fact that the recycling people don't want to recycle them because they've got residue in them.
exactly. So
So I mean, I wouldn't wholly put that on the vaping industry.
no, but I think we have a responsibility.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
doing what we can, but we could always. Everyone in any aspect can do a little bit more. That's all. That's what I'm saying. For example, your job. You do your job to the best of your ability.
Yeah.
You know, probably you could do a little bit more, but you don't. You just do what you need to do as good as you can.
Well, I try.
That's because we're human. I do my job as best as I can every day.
I
Some
try
days
and
I'm
do it as best as I can as well.
But we're human. Some days I come in here and I'm
Oh.
like, I'm just too emotionally, physically drained. I'm going to have an off day.
I felt a
bounce
bit
back.
like that this morning.
I can imagine. This guy's had a busy day. He's
I had to have my
he's-
coffee this morning.
Yeah,
I
I
was
can
really
imagine.
grumpy.
I am the different person before coffee, trust me. But no, I get it, and I get it from the consumer. For me, the rebuildables, I'm a man of convenience.
Yeah.
Not convenient for me.
Yeah.
I don't want to stop every four pulls and drip. I don't want to have to worry about where my tank is. I want it to have to.
Dripping something on its
Nah.
own entirely. Though. I
Yeah.
mean, if you've got a juice that you really want to enjoy and you want to enjoy it for like just after dinner, before you go to bed,
Home vaping. So when
Like-
you're at home in the comfort of home.
like the apple pie and custard, or the brownie apple pie, whatever it is, and
Yeah.
the other one that I got, like the apple crumble.
Yeah, that's going to be
Like
amazing
that
on
is
a dripper.
not that they are not all day liquids.
No, of course
they
not.
are like you put them in a dripper, you enjoy them for a couple of hours, you chuck out your cotton, you put your cotton in the bin,
Yeah.
and you're done.
Yeah, of course.
But like, yes, like the easiness of it. So
Convenience.
I'm getting
Yeah. It's,
trying to find words that aren't there.
it's fine. It's literally my life.
The convenience, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
the
the word I was looking
convenience
for. You literally just said. But like, yeah, I can understand the convenience, but also I think like coils like I said earlier, the coils that manufacturers are making now, they've caught up.
Yeah, it's ridiculous now.
They've
It genuinely
caught
is
up.
ridiculous. They are.
Like when mesh took off,
I'm so glad mesh took off. So glad.
like
Less materials.
I think like mesh took off like every coil. Like
Yeah.
just immediately,
It was one of the-
like
it
they
was
just
an
started immediately
industry
improving.
standard.
Yeah,
It become an industry standard.
like
if
they
you
were
make
poor.
a tank, you have to have a mesh version of that coil because everyone else is doing
well,
it.
that's not even what I'm getting at. It's like, you know, no coils really compared to rebuildable, and then all of a sudden mesh came out, and then every coil, no matter whether it was mesh or not,
Straight up.
was like comparable, if not better than rebuildable.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. I totally agree as well. And I was saying
And
this
even
the other day,
the costs have come down as well. So it's like-
because from a manufacturer's side, less material, less cotton, less housing. Well, housing's usually pretty similar because they just pack out with either more cotton or it's less material, but they last longer for the consumer.
oh, definitely.
They're the same price, if not cheaper in bundles or whatever, depending on where you buy them from. And they heat up evenly. You don't get this weird. I just still remember.
Oh, that is one-
You get
that is one of
random
the
burn
annoying-
spots through your spring coil because it heats up at different points. It should be even when you're
Sometimes
at
I
the
just left it and it gave you a very weird vape.
Yeah, we had a little break. My SD card actually filled up, so that's on me. I
We were
apologise.
talking about how long coils last now. 3-4 weeks out of a coil.
It's more like we were touching on earlier, and I think the premise of this is convenience more than anything. So with old school coils, and this is why I hate Smock, and I'll say this openly: if Smock ever want to send me anything, you're more than welcome, but don't expect a good review on the coils because
Not unless you improve, because smock coils even.
they're so
I'll
inconsistent.
back you up that
They're
smock
so
coils.
inconsistent.
Yeah,
and then this
inconsistency
ties
is the
into this.
perfect word for it.
Yeah, you can get a box of coils, or what normally happens is the coils in the box of the device are amazing and they will last well over their due date. But then any replacement
you buy a box
pack
of replacement
five,
coils.
3 of them are a dud.
No, one of them will last 4 weeks. One of them will last a week. One of them won't work.
It's,
One of them will fire once and then blow up
it's
or
very
like burn out.
difficult. It's very difficult trying to do my job and explain to customers when they're like, "Why isn't this working?" And I'm like,
You bought smock.
"It's Smock," and they go, "Yeah, but you sold me this Smock because you wanted it, and I did warn you at the time that the coils were inconsistent."
I can understand
so what
how
I've done,
paying you
and
as a seller.
I mean, I'm always open and honest wherever I can be. And I think in this sort of industry, this job, it goes a long way by being that and building that trust with the consumer. Now, one thing I have done for all of my Smock users out there is I've compiled a list of compatible coils from other brands that work so much better. The number one for anyone
that's
that
a good
runs
idea, that is.
well, right,
Really
so
good
Baby
idea.
Beast or the mini any mini coil that takes the old Baby Beast coils, Vaperesso GT mesh coils are the exact same housing,
Oh, really?
better materials, actually work, and they last 3 to 4 times the recommended time a Smock coil would.
Yeah. That's
So
good.
that's what I've done. I've just compiled a
back
different
in the
list.
day when I started rebuildables, there was like one tank on the market that was like, we accept coils from these brands. You're like, wow, that's like innovative, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Nowadays,
And this is the thing, I know-
a lot of stuff's interchangeable.
I know me and James were banging on last week about pod systems, and you were saying how, the industry, I don't know if we were on air or not, I can't remember. It might have been before we were recording, we were saying how the industry's, I think it was earlier on, the industry's kind of got to a point and it's sort of,
I don't think we were recording that.
oh, all right, fair enough. Well,
I think
that it's
the industry peaked. What I was saying is that the industry peaked and now it's sort of trailing off again. Just like I made the
comparison to smartphones.
the comparison to smartphones. Like smartphones now, they sort of hit a peak,
Yeah,
and now it's just
fine.
incremental. You know, we went through the notch phase. Now it's the hole punch phase. Now it's the quadruple camera phase. Now it's the
I know this is slightly off topic, but do you think the whole fold-in screen thing will actually be a thing that people buy
I think
into?
it's going to be
don't think it will.
reserved for like high-end business
Well,
users.
Motorola Razr released their old school Razr as a new one with a foldable screen,
Yeah,
and I'm
but
like,
it's
why?
But I
Why?
mean, look at the Samsung Galaxy Fold. It's like £4,000.
Yeah, it's
like,
ridiculous.
It's off topic though. I'm just gonna butt in. I really want the Motorola Razr though. Like as you said, Magpie.
Yeah,
Proper
shiny things.
Magpie on it.
So I don't know if you guys can hear the audio. Maybe you can, but Wiggs is sat behind there going, I know this is off topic, but I really want one of those Samsung foldable phones.
No, the Motorola Razr, not the Samsung.
Oh, sorry, the Motorola Razr. Thank you.
Remember when you were a kid?
They were amazing,
cool
yeah.
on the playground.
Oh, I remember the Motorola Pebble. The Pebble.
Oh, the Pebble.
The Pebble phone.
Yeah.
I looked at that. I was like, I want it. Mum was like, you don't need a phone. I actually didn't have a phone till I was till I moved to Paris in 2015. Actually,
Oh, fair
the
enough.
first time I owned a smartphone.
Fair play.
And now I'm like always flagship.
Yeah, why not? But anyway, we'll swing it right back into the actual topic.
Yeah, actually back into vaping.
Yeah, cool's come a long way. DIY.
Yeah, the whole topic was like I was making the comparison with smartphones.
Yeah, to the industry. Yeah.
Because like smartphones are basically like the leading edge of the curve. You know, the leading wave. You know.
Yeah.
Whatever comes in smartphones for that year is probably going to follow on. It's going to ripple effect and come in from the rest of the tech sort of thing. You know.
Yeah, of course.
Like vaping again, like with smartphones, I personally think it's peaked and now it's coming back down again. Because I think it peaked with like people going absolutely crazy, like I said, with like the smog stuff going up to 400 watts and stuff like that.
Different phases.
I think it peaked there, and now it's come back into the standard, like what it's meant for. You could say what it's meant for.
I think
people wanting to quit smoking. It's come back. It's come back to that now.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's come back to this is all the crazy stuff we can do, and now it's like let's hold in the reins a bit and go back to consumer level.
Yeah.
What the sole purpose is to help you quit smoking and make the switch.
Because I think there's always been a bit of a divide in the vaping community. Like there was always a thing. Maybe not so much now, but back then it was like you had the cloud chasers.
Yep.
And the mouth to lung.
Yep. 100%.
People, and they were like not battling, being a bit like
clicky.
petty with each other, so to speak.
Very, very clicky. Yeah. 100%.
And I think and then like I said, vaping peaked with like we want to go full cloud chaser, 400 watts, this, that, and the other, 0.1 ohm coils, and now it's sort of like, well, that's not really the people we're aiming for.
Do you think that the industry picked a niche and then maxed out on it? To then come back, pick another niche, max out on it. Because I think that's what they're trying to do slowly.
No, I think they definitely went all in on the cloud chasing side of it.
They had all the attention, so that's why they went all in on it. And that's why I keep saying
now they've come back around and thought, hang on a minute, vape. The whole point of vaping is to quit smoking. We're going to come right back around with that. Now, 100%. I personally don't get on with pod systems. I don't think I don't personally think they're fantastic.
No, that's fair enough.
Because I think that does tie into a bit of what you brought up last week with kids vaping. Because I think pod systems.
Oh, you think it's tied?
Juul.
Yeah, so
Juul made pods. Juul made pods. They're the ones that made pods explode. Okay. I believe, and I think they were so readily accessible.
Marketing. I think that's that.
Like Apple. Juul was the Apple of the vaping.
Also owned by Philip Morris, who's part of Big Tobacco. Which, yet again, we could probably do a podcast on Juul alone. Yeah, I hate Juul. I honestly do. I want to do a video just destroying them.
I think they are the ones that made pod mods explode, and they made them so readily accessible that's how kids got a hold of them. You could walk into a petrol station and pick up a Juul in America.
Yeah, of course.
Now just like iPhone made the notch on smartphones, Juul made, and everyone then followed suit. Everyone was doing notches on smartphones. And then Juul did that with vaping. They did the pods, and now everyone's doing pods.
However, this is where it's slightly different from a consumer's perspective, someone in the industry.
That's only my personal belief.
I get it, and that you've hit a lot of points right on the head, but there's some where I just want to fill in on a little bit, which you may or may not know. For example, pod systems were around for years. They just have been. They've just not been up to the standard that they are now. Nautilus All-in-One was the first, from what I know there are some prior to this, the first one I really got to grips with. Still an original Nautilus coil, but it had the whole pod compact device thing. They tried it. In my opinion, it came out at the wrong time. If it came out now, it would fly, but at the time it didn't.
As I mentioned earlier, the original, I think it was the Pico.
There
was a version of that had the clearomizer. Inbuilt into the device.
K1 Stealths from the Aspire, box mod with a K1 in it to be a stealthier device. It's kind of where some of the origins of pod systems.
I'm not saying that, but I mean, Juul made them explode.
Oh, of course, but the disposable side, like Juul are, you've also had companies like Vape, My Blue, that have been struggling.
They weren't heard of back then.
Yeah, they weren't. Well, they were about, and they were trying to break the market, but it took someone like Juul to elevate that whole disposable pod. I personally think disposable pod, touching on what we said earlier, convenience. For people who don't want to learn it, they've forgot their device, they're going to London for the day. I just need something. Cool, I'll go buy a My Blue device and a couple of pods that'll do me for the day, chuck it in a bin. It's cheap and cheerful. All right?
Yeah, definitely.
I have customers that come in and I just want the blue pods, and I'm like, no. Like, make your way over. You now know what vaping's like. That is so expensive long term. Then pods are ridiculously expensive long term. 2 pods, 3 ml of liquid for a £5, or 1 bottle of our 10 mils for £4. You're already saving 1 bottle. Do you see what I mean? So there's a lot to that. But yeah, I don't know. A lot of people say that vaping has been advertised at kids. See, for me,
I won't agree to that.
No, 100%.
I won't agree to that at all.
I'm very I say I'm on the fence. I'm avid against that. I genuinely believe.
I also don't agree that flavors like, I don't know, monkey,
Flavors do
blue
not
monkey or something.
Yeah.
Don't just pick out a random name out of the blue. You know, blue monkey. That's just because it's called blue monkey, it's made for kids.
No, that is a marketing thing, and I think Juul did help that. They fed into it because the way they marketed it may have made it appealing for kids. However,
no, I believe that's the US government spinning it. That's how they wanted 100%. To spin it.
Yeah, 100%, because it makes some money somewhere down the line, whether it's big tobacco, which is part of, because it's funny how all these contaminated pods came out, CEO know about it months before and then stepped down and got out of the limelight and then it come out. It's just very convenient, but we could
probably do a whole podcast on the American stuff as well.
Yeah, we actually probably could.
Probably if you want to see it, this is like 6 different podcasts molded into one.
I don't know how long this podcast is going to be. Some people are going to text me going, how long is this podcast?
I just hope about an hour and a half right now.
Thoroughly enjoy it, and if you are enjoying it, make sure you leave a like and comment below if you made it this far, because you guys are the real MVPs
definitely.
for being this far. I really do appreciate it. And like I said, always give Elliot some birthday love. I know it's coming out after your birthday, but it's not the point. It was recorded on your birthday, all right? So make sure you leave a comment. To be honest, pod systems for me are the main reason why so many new vapors are coming back in, because of the convenience.
Yes, but that's all. I mean, in a sense, you're probably not going to like this, but I think in a sense, Juul helped vaping.
It showed a lot of people who didn't do either that there is something very simple out there.
Oh yeah,
disposable,
like you said,
discreet,
like you keep bringing up the
compact.
convenience.
Yeah, so people are lazy.
Because
people are lazy.
Tying into the whole thing, I could tie this whole thing together now. Like, if you go into a vape shop and it's like, right, 2 coils, you need to make them 1.6 ohm each, so you need 9 wraps of can foul at 12 gauge can foul, 8 wraps, that'll give you 1.6 ohms, so times 2 in the dual coil device is 0.8 ohms, and then you need to put your cotton in there, you need to dry fire it, you need to make sure you got all the hotspots. Someone hears that, they're going to be like, no, cigarettes.
I'll just buy a pack of fags.
But you walk into the vape shop and goes, here you go, here's a pod, you replace the pod when it's empty.
This is why I'll always bang on about these. The flavour on these are great. The battery life is a 2 amp fast charge, so it's convenient, again. And for elderly people or new vapors that want an introduction...
I wouldn't recommend a Coco for an elderly vape. They're going to lose that.
Or that or the original Caliburn, they absolutely love it.
Oh, really?
Because...
I would have thought that would get lost very easily.
It doesn't taste very nice. Throw it in the bin. New pod. For them, they're like, that's easy.
Yeah.
Even I can remember that sort of thing. And I've got
it's a bit small, I would just
the Coco, maybe not the best example, but the Caliburn original one, the stick. That was very, very popular. It still is. And obviously the Coco coming out, people are coming
going
back
to like my history in vaping, my mum still vapes on a little pen, on an Ego pen.
I find that
because for her...
It's convenient and easy. It works.
There's that. There's also the fact that it's so much like a cigarette. She holds hers almost like a cigarette, even though she's been vaping longer than I have, which is about 8 years now, and I've been vaping for about 7.
That's mad.
She still uses one of those Ego pens, and she'll go into a shop, and they still stock them in France because a lot of the older people and a lot of the people that started on them still use them.
I get asked for them quite often now, and I'm thinking about restocking them. I don't know wholesale-wise if we can get hold of them as easy.
If France can get them, I'm sure you can.
We can, yeah. But no, you're right.
Because I'm surprised. Like in France, they like normally push those sort of like stick mods, and I see a lot of English vape shops going, "Oh, you want like a 40-watt box mod?" No. Now with the pods, you can just say, "Here you go, it's a pod system."
Cheap and that's why the Nord last year was one of the best.
I remember you raving about that, yeah.
Purely because it was like you can still replace a coil. There's 3 coils to choose from. One of the only Smok products that had reasonably consistent coils. It wasn't the best, but it was better than what they've been putting out for the last 18 months prior.
Yeah.
And that's why I still like the Novo 2, because it's the Caliburn but Smok version. It's still like a refillable pod, but you just throw the pod away.
That's the only issue with Smok. Their devices and their atomizers or their tanks are fantastic, but their coils are just...
Up until my AVP Pro review, which I did last week on the channel, if you haven't seen it, in the description, that is the only... No, sorry, it wasn't the AVP Pro. I did review that, but that's not the device I'm talking about. Or is it? I can't remember.
Put a caption.
Yeah, I'll put a caption. Essentially, I've reviewed a device recently. No, it was the AVP Pro. 1,300 milliamp hour battery, 2 amp fast charge, better design, like ergonomic, tastes better, longer lasting pods. That is the only pod system since the Nord to rival the Nord's battery life, and that's where the Nord was so popular. 1,100 mAh on a compact device, you're onto a winner there. Just on
but
battery life alone.
again, this ties the vaping industry into like the general tech. Like tech's getting smaller.
Yep.
Like this watch, it's a smartwatch from last gen. It's 512 mega RAM because that's about as small as they could do. It's about as much RAM as they could get in this watch for the size. This gen, 1 gig.
Well,
Everything's getting so much smaller.
Here's something my dad said, and my dad is a technophobe. He's in his 60s. He can't even work a home phone, right? He can't even get his head
told me, yeah.
He can't get his head round green for answer calls, red for hang up. Like, you know, he's long gone. We try his best. He was saying to me, he goes, I don't understand tech. I was like, we clearly get that. He goes, but one thing I do understand is that humans are lazy. I was like, okay, can you elaborate? He went, cool.
I know where this is going.
First ever TV to come out. Look at the size of it. It's huge. The back of the TV.
Oh yeah, cathode.
Mad. Look up now. Wallpaper TVs.
OLEDs. Organic LEDs.
Exactly.
Paper thin.
It's ridiculous.
That's what foldable screens. Foldable screens, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's the same in every industry in tech. They're becoming more convenient and they're becoming better, but they're becoming smaller and smaller and smaller. You look at how many things do you watch on your phone compared to your TV? Because for me, I only watch the TV at home with Nick when we're watching a series.
I don't watch TV.
I've got
my computer hooked up to my TV, and I'll watch YouTube on my computer.
But do you consume content on your phone more than you would, whether it's scrolling through feeds, videos?
Oh god, yeah.
Because the
I am one of those people.
I
don't like to admit it, but I am one of those people. Like if I'm literally bored for like 1 minute, Instagram, Facebook.
As soon as there's an awkward silence, phone's
my
out,
news feed, even my Google News feed.
Yeah. Something.
Like sometimes it will pop up a notification. AMD unveils. Oh, I want to read that. AMD computer tech related. I'll read it.
And the whole point my dad was trying to make is everyone's addicted to their phones, which is a bit of a boomer statement. He's
correct.
Yeah,
he's completely correct.
He's right. I see it from a different perspective. It's more where attention is rather than everyone's addicted to their phone. Because if the attention was on the wall, then everyone would be still sat at the wall.
It's the point. It's
the
going off on yet another tangent.
Yeah, we are. But what the point I'm trying to bring around is this industry's now taken that on board.
That's what I mean. Just
going to make everything smaller.
That's what I mean by vaping is so heavily linked to the general tech, because vaping is quite techy.
Yeah.
You know, and like I said, when I started vaping with that Vamo V2, you know, the first like starter kit box, there weren't even boxes back then. They were like 300 mAh. You know, I'd be lucky to get like 2 hours. You know, the guy the guy that was selling was like, oh yeah, you can use it for a couple of hours and you got to recharge it with a USB cable. Now, that same size, like your Coco, you're talking like 800 to 1200 mAh.
It's ridiculous.
It's like quadrupled, if not like pentupled the battery capacity.
It is absolutely
But it stayed the same size, or if not smaller.
Yeah.
Like that thing's like, I mean,
it's tiny.
Like the Pico is probably about as wide as your Aspire, and about as just a bit taller than your Coco, and it had like 250 mAh.
Yeah.
With like 15 watts. Now you're getting like things like the Coco that are like regulated with a chipset, 40 watts and a 1200.
Auto draw function, best thing ever invented in my opinion.
Yeah, but it's like
mouth to lung vapor.
It's like they're that size, but they've got quadruple, pentuple the battery life. They've got a chipset. They can go up to 40 watts. They can do different stuff.
It's mental. So this is where I disagree with you slightly with where the industry's stagnated, because I know you say the little increments.
It's stagnated in the sense there's no huge innovations. It's incremental.
Yes,
I believe it's incremental.
Yeah, no, I give that. I'll give you that. But from my perspective, I see them incremental changes as innovation, because they go, right, this works, but how can we make it better and more convenient or for the user? So like mesh coils, everyone's like, oh, they're great.
No, they were. I would
this
say
is the best thing since sliced bread, because it's changed the game. Yeah, it's not just a convenience, it's changed the game.
No, I'd say it's one of the major things. But I mean, like, what I'm trying to say is like, you know,
for me, the first one I noticed was dual 18650 external batteries. When they first come up, the whole industry shifted because it was new. Nothing had ever been done.
I'd say pod mods were like a sort of innovation. But
it's a hybrid, essentially.
Yeah,
direct lung
but
and mouth to lung.
What I
in one
mean is,
device.
like, every year the new flagship smartphones come out.
Yeah.
You know, what's going to be different about them? Slightly bigger battery, more screen to body ratio.
I thought you were crying then.
Something,
Only on the inside.
Oh, right.
you know, like better camera. But you make all them innovations, in a sense they are, but they're not, there's nothing game
Massive.
changing.
Yeah. No, I get
Like
it.
the foldable phones, that could be classed as like an innovation and a game changer. And I think the same thing for vaping. It's just like smaller size, more compact, more convenient. I don't see those as game-changing innovations. There's nothing.
Okay.
I mean, you could class Nick Salts, but I think they
I
just
think
sort
they're
of
a game
came.
changer.
Personally, I'd say they came out of nowhere and then just sort of.
Well, you think
Didn't
about
go
it,
anywhere.
The main ingredient in Nick Salts to take away that throat hit is benzoic acid, right? High nicotine concentrate, no throat hit. So for me, doing my job, trying to find the right nicotine strength for you, for example, say you're a 20-a-day smoker, 12's not strong, 12's too strong, 6 isn't strong enough.
Yeah.
Well, I know if I give you a 20 milligram Nick Salt, that's going to be more than enough, and you're not going to get the throat hit of an 18. So what a lot of companies are doing now is they're now trying to replace free-base PG with Nick Salts and do a 20, 10, and a 5. So that, for me, is like, cool, this is good, it's done its job, but we've got something new and so much better. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I get your perspective, but I mean, they sort of came out of nowhere and didn't really go anywhere. That's
It
what I
was-
mean. They didn't really
I
go anywhere. There
picture-
wasn't like mass media coverage. It
No,
wasn't like
but-
every vape reviewer was talking about Nick Salts.
No, but I can tell you that, like I said, being in the industry, more and more customers revert to those before PG now.
Oh,
Which I
really?
think is great. Yeah, I mean, obviously your traditional PG
Well,
vapors that are fine.
PG's fine, but it gets harsh.
Yeah, of course.
It's harsh.
But people are like, I can get better flavour because there's less of a throat hit. I'm getting more nicotine, or the nicotine that's a bit more suited for me for the same price. Okay, sign me up. But yeah, so we've been talking about so much.
Yeah.
I'm just going to wrap this up quickly. A lot of things have happened.
Oh yeah.
A lot of things have happened.
Over the last 10 years, vaping's come.
Oh, mate.
If you look at the last decade, I mean, obviously I talk about incremental stuff over like year after year. If you look at the big picture,
Oh, mate.
over
crazy.
the last 11 years, vaping's gone from being designed by a Chinese guy in his basement
Yeah.
to becoming
Global.
like an almost $1 trillion
global
industry.
Yeah, it's mad. It is honestly mad.
And I say again, you could compare that to smartphones.
Yeah, yeah.
Because 2009, you know, it could just about go on the internet. Now they're laptops that
Exactly.
fit in the palm of your hand.
It's mental. It is mental.
So that's
Right,
what I
we're
mean
gonna-
by about tying it in together.
No, 100%. They are very synonymous.
They
I'll
are,
give you that.
yeah.
But we're going to wrap up this segment and we'll be taking a short break and coming back for this week's Sherlock Holmes. So I shall see you guys in a sec. So welcome back to Chilling with the Ohmies Podcast. We are back for this week's Sherlock Holmes, where I put on my hat, get my molecule out, and I still yet to get a pipe. We were discussing this earlier. I need to get myself a genuine e-cigarette pipe. Now, this week, there's not really an investigated story that I've gone over. I'm still investigating some for future podcasts that aren't quite ready yet. But while we've been sitting here talking, we've been thinking about what would be important for you guys to know about if you didn't, or just something we can discuss in the comment section. And that is battery safety. So a lot of what we spoke about today is, you know, mechanical mods, rebuildables, and you know, we've spoke a lot about inbuilt batteries as well as you know, external batteries. So
we could class it under the guise of homebrew.
yeah, okay, yeah, we'll go with that. We'll go with homebrew. That makes sense. So what we kind of wanted to do is just kind of go over the importance of battery safety, because I have to explain this to customers quite a lot. I have people go, oh, well, these batteries look all right, and all the wraps are ripped and the isolator ring's gone, and I'm like, I have to confiscate these because I cannot let you leave without a new set of batteries.
Yeah.
But what would you say is the most important thing, like rule one, for any average consumer of batteries?
Well, I think rule one is what you've just brought up.
Okay.
It's just check your batteries. If they've got any nicks in the wrap, replace the wrap. If they're missing the isolator, try and find some isolators to replace them.
Yeah,
if
of
you
course.
can't, those batteries are no good. Do not use them. They're not safe.
I can't reiterate that enough.
Any damage on your 18650, 2700s or your 21700s, if they've got any damage on them,
Don't miss out the 350 mile batteries, the little nuggets.
Well, I think they've been long gone.
Hey, I'll tell you what, there's a few pipe vapes I was trying to get hold of.
Oh,
that
maybe the
had
pipe ones, yeah.
350.
Yeah,
I was
well,
like, I haven't had them.
Lead vape for 10 minutes. Yeah. But no, basically any cells that you're using, no matter what the chemistry is, no matter what their ratings are, if they've got any damage, just try, rewrap them or
get new ones.
Dispose of them in a safe way. I've been talking to 18650.co.uk.
Good website.
If you buy batteries from them, they offer a free return.
Oh wow!
For disposal. They won't
fantastic.
take batteries that weren't bought from them.
Yeah, of course.
So you've got to get in contact with your local recycling centre or just find anywhere near you that will take e-waste.
I was just about to say, so any reputable vape shop have signed up to a scheme where you can deposit, like consumers can deposit their unwanted batteries.
Do you offer that?
Of course we do. Of course we offer that.
I've got about 10 at home.
If you've got batteries that you want to get rid of, bring them in and we'll get rid of them the right way. And I feel like every vape shop should, like I said earlier, do their part and do the bit extra. Whereas, cool, like I've mentioned this before. I work for other vape companies. They will straight up confiscate them, not let you leave till you buy a set. I think that's wrong. It's the right intentions, wrong way to execute.
Yeah.
We should definitely confiscate them or educate them or rewrap them or do something there and then if they can't afford batteries, for example.
Yeah.
But we should also have a scheme where we dispose of them correctly. It should be a standard mandatory thing for a vape shop.
Brilliant,
So
brilliant. If that's coming around, that's brilliant. So as I said, basically, if you can't rewrap them or if they are really damaged, they've lost the isolator cap, take them to your local vape shop or dispose of them safely. Don't just drop them in like your local Tesco bin where they put the AAs because that's just going to lead to issues.
A lot of issues.
Big bang. Maybe.
Yeah, massive bang.
So that I would say is definitely
it's got to be
rule one is just check for damage. If they got damage, try and repair it. If they're like properly used and like the wrap's like falling off and they've lost the isolator cap and they've got dents in them, like do not use them. I cannot stress that enough.
Honestly,
do not use them.
Like I said, there's been a few customers that have come in genuinely not knowing and asking, and my reaction has made them go, and I'm like, sorry, so overreact.
I think that's a part where I could say that vape shops can improve. If vape shops are selling 18650 dual, 18650 dual 2070-100s or whatever mods, and you sell them batteries with it, you've got to educate them.
Now, one thing I will say to back up the industry as a whole, any kit you buy now, any kit, even if it's inbuilt to a degree, you'll get a little card in your box and it will go over picture form, basic form of battery safety.
I've not bought a mod in a while, so
whenever, honestly, anything you buy now, it is in there. There's always one. It doesn't matter what manufacturer, it's always in there. I think it's probably a regulation at this point. Every time I set someone up, I always show them that and say, if you have any issues, obviously come in. If not, you can't get to us. You read this and you stick to this.
Yeah.
This is what I'm telling you is in this box. So if you forget it's here. I'm not obviously giving you 16 different languages and the same stuff, but essentially, we go over that sort of thing.
So that's like rule 0, to be honest. Just any damage, just put them to one side. Don't use them. Take them to a local vape shop, get them rewrapped. Just make sure they're safe. No damage.
And if any of you, and I've said this to many people that have done this before, some people like to, this is what I've heard it being called ghetto wrapping, which is where you rewrap a battery. How would you typically do it? Would you use a hairdryer?
I would use a hairdryer.
Yeah.
Make sure the old wrap is off. Check once I've taken the old wrap off, I would make sure that I've kept the isolator cap because
of course
they are a pain in the butt,
and they're very hard to get hold of on their own as well. So
and then check the battery for any nicks, dents,
wipe it down, make sure it's not
even
leaking.
A scratch.
Yeah. If
it's leaking, don't even
Sometimes
go there.
you don't know it till you take the wrap off because it might be leaking underneath. Do you know what I mean? So, I mean, you
normally they would
performance.
smell.
Yeah, of course.
I would say they would smell normally, but if there's any like actual damage to the metal case, don't use them. Don't just rewrap and think, oh, it's all right. Now it's rewrapped, it's fine. No,
So,
they're damaged.
Ghetto wrapping is essentially a normal wrapping process, but you use a lighter. If I ever catch anyone doing that, they're getting a slap. A naked flame next to a lithium battery, like, use your brain. That is so dumb. So dumb. I'm sorry, that's just my personal opinion. I do not agree with wrapping a battery with a lighter.
I think
that is crazy.
Yeah, that's
dumb.
Well, yeah, that's not the proper way to do it. I'd say if you know your stuff, you could probably get away with it, but it's not recommended.
Yeah, exactly. Even
Definitely not.
I could
I'm
do
not
that
trying to
with a
make
lighter.
it recommend.
No,
I'm
no,
not
of
saying I
course.
recommend
Yeah.
it. Definitely not.
Like, I could do that with a lighter. I know how to rewrap a battery. You know how to rewrap. You could figure it out. But I still wouldn't because I'm not stupid. Do you know?
No.
It's one of those things like you don't play with fire. So why would you put in something that will go bang if you add a flame to it? Do you just see what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just something I've noticed over the years. Actually, one person, which I won't mention because I don't want to throw him under the bus, that's how he was doing it for customers. And I was like, I do not agree with that. You should not be showing people that you can do it that way. If you haven't got a hairdryer, pretty sure you can get hold of one. Or
I got one off Amazon for £10.
there you go. Or you may know a female in your house that has one more regularly.
Yeah.
I actually use one every day. I need to buy my own because if Nick's watching, which she probably is, I nick hers every day. And I have done for the last 4 years. I should probably buy my own. It's not hard to get hold of a hairdryer. Do you know what I mean?
No.
So
You got to think of it like what's more important, my life or
my face or a
your
battery?
face, your legs, your skin, or spending a tenner on a hairdryer.
Exactly. Or even £6
going
on a
out and
battery.
spending going out and
Do you know what I mean?
spending £6 or £7 on a battery.
Exactly.
On a new one.
Exactly. It's just common sense, I think, most of it.
Definitely.
So other than that, where else would you go with battery safety? So would you say there's, just for people, I'm playing a bit of a devil's advocate here, would you say that there is different maintenance in terms of a 18650, a 21700, a 2700?
This is where I think you've caught me out there because I've never used 2700s or 21700s, but
Okay.
I would say that the rules apply to
They are pretty much the same.
all cells, 18350 right through to 21700.
Same wraps, same isolators. They are pretty much the same. So I wasn't trying to catch you out, by the way. It's essentially, there is not one rule for one for the other.
No, it's definitely
a
all the
uniform.
same. No, it's definitely
uniform.
all the same. Yeah.
So for those of you who don't know, we briefly touched on it with inbuilt batteries. Your local vape shops and most vape companies will recommend you change your external batteries, your 18650s, etc. every 8 months-ish. They usually last roughly 12 months.
That is recommended. Most batteries, most lithium-ion cells have a life cycle of about 200 to 300 charges.
Exactly.
Obviously, if there's no damage to them, you can keep using them.
Yeah, of course.
Just after that amount of recharges, you're going to have to expect that they're going to lose some life.
Yeah, so for those of you
Their
who don't
capacity
know,
will start to go down.
if you're relatively new and you're starting to use external batteries, and over time, when you use them and recharge them, just like anything else that's rechargeable, like your phone, they're lithium batteries too.
Yep.
They will deteriorate. You'll never get 100%.
Like
all the
I said,
time.
this one used to last 2-3 days. It now lasts half a day. It
Exactly.
still works. It's still safe, but obviously the
It
life
deteriorates
is
over time.
just life loss basically
Yeah,
over
makes sense.
time.
So would you? I don't know if you know this. This is just to put it out there. Do you know they are 18650s are a very common battery used for a lot of things. I think we spoke about this before, like just a few days ago about
Possibly.
They're mainly used for torches and things like that.
The main use before vaping sort of took them over was DIY tools, laptop cells, torches, headlamps, just industrial stuff in general, But
And they still are, to be fair. One interesting fact, which I think I told you at the time, but for you guys watching, and maybe Sam, I don't know if you know this, the original or the first released Tesla Elon Musk produced,
On laptop batteries.
which are 18650s. So it's essentially the whole thing, or not the whole thing, but the whole engine was just a load of vape batteries in a box, essentially. They don't do that now, but they did it to kind of prove the power of them. And
Tesla
how used
still
they are.
use the same chemistry as a lot of 18650s in their batteries still.
They've just
the
all
same
they've done is
chemistry, it's
like
just-
we said earlier, they've refined it and made it smaller and used different external cases. They're not just literally they just stacked up a load of laptop batteries. Which,
Definitely.
But now they've refined it and whatever.
Yeah, of
but
course.
yeah, a lot of the technology is the same.
Yeah, but
Yeah, it was an interesting fact of the week.
I mean that just goes to prove the point. They were like industrial.
Yeah. So I think the other thing that some people may or may not know is you have two types of 18650s, because I've had a few customers that don't vape that come in to buy the batteries for their doorbell, for anything else. You actually have dome top 18650s, and you
Yep.
have flat tops.
Button top and flat top.
Yeah, so...
Some old mods back in the day required button top.
Yeah.
Because the flat tops wouldn't make contact.
Yeah, that's true.
that did happen back in the day.
You know, I know that the industry standard now is obviously flat top.
Yeah, flat top.
I don't know of
Button
anything...
tops cost more. You can get them.
Yeah, I know you can get them. I just don't know of anything offhand that would take dome tops.
You could still put dome tops in a mod.
Yeah, but I think they're specifically made for flat tops now, aren't they? Would they shut? I'm going to test
don't
this.
know.
I'm going to test this. That's a YouTube video.
I think I could use dome tops in my DovPro Twisted Messes mod.
You probably could.
Yeah.
Well, you have to give that a go. Let me know how it goes. So, is there anything else you feel that the average person should know that may not necessarily know? So, obviously, you've got
mainly, as we brought it up earlier, means we're trying to tie it all in. But mainly, battery. You need to know your batteries if you're doing mech rebuildable. Maybe not rebuildable so much if you're using a regulated device, but for mech mod users.
Oh, massively.
You have to learn Ohm's law, or at least look it up, know what it is, know what it does, and know what you're doing. Because battery safety is no laughing matter. I'm not trying to make it a laughing matter.
No,
it's serious.
It is.
But you've got, if you're doing mech mods or you're even interested in mech mods, learn your batteries,
100%.
your milliamp hour ratings, your amping, your amperage, what the battery can do, max continuous or max pulse, or the max rated. There's quite a lot to batteries. It's not just pop it in, job done.
Exactly.
There's more to it than that. And a lot of people don't realise. At
store level,
it,
we try and make it like that for the average consumer. They just want batteries for the device. We try and make, for me, my go-to 18650s are Samsung 30Qs. I rave
mine
about
are
them.
Sony VTC6s.
Good batteries. And if I probably could stock them in here if I can get hold of some at a decent price.
Or VTC 5As.
Monocells, mate. Monocell batteries are incredible. I don't know why they're just so well built.
Maybe a different chemistry.
Maybe
a different chemistry. Most 18650s are INR or NMC.
This is a quick question. So your best batteries are the VTCs, right?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Worst battery you've ever tried?
eFest.
Oh, mate.
eFest used to just.
I hate eFest.
Yeah, well, eFest used to be
bottom of the barrel.
They're a bit better now. I will say they're a bit better now because of the pressure put on them by Battery Mooch. Battery Mooch. Very, very famous in the e-cig vape industry.
Yeah.
They used to put these are 4,000 milliamp hour and you can discharge them at 40 amps. No battery like that exists on the planet. That's just what the rap says.
Yeah, exactly.
But people used to believe it. And that's still a huge problem. All these ridiculous Chinese companies just putting whatever the hell they want on their batteries. 6,000 milliamp hour and 50 amp discharge. No battery like that exists. You cannot do it.
So would you say that there is certain brands you can trust that you'll go to?
Yes.
What
LG, Sony, Samsung, big tech brands. If you can get batteries from big tech brands,
I totally agree.
They've got laboratories that study, research, and do their stuff.
And they're used for multiple things as well.
Yeah. And a lot of eFest and some other cells are just rewraps of LG, Samsung, Sony. They're the main ones that I can think of off the top of my head.
But what makes me laugh is because they're rewraps and they are not telling the full truth of what that battery can do.
They're not telling the truth at all. They're dangerous. The rewrap.
You can essentially have a Samsung 30Q that's rewrapped and saying it's a 4,000 mile battery and it's not at a different ampage, and you put that in something else.
The main problem is not going to be the milliamp hour. It's going to be the ampage.
Yeah, of course.
It's the amps, because let's say a best example is what I was talking to 18650.co.uk about. I was saying, because they put up an article what they put up. They've got great articles on their website.
Okay.
What is an 18650? Brilliant article, and which battery is the best to use. And I was talking to them, discussing about it, which batteries would be best for me.
Okay.
Now I vape at 80 watts, and my coils are 0.15 or 0.2 ohm.
Yeah, standard mesh coil.
So I said, would the VTC6 be the best option?
Mm-hmm.
They said, if you're vaping anything over 80 watts, we wouldn't recommend them. We'd recommend the VTC 5A.
Okay.
If you're vaping at 80 watts, then you can use the VTC6s. They're your best bet.
Have you made the swap to them? When batteries I recommended?
No, because that's what I was discussing with them.
Oh, okay.
Because with Ohm's law, as long as you know two of the what you're going to input, you can get the other two options out. So you've got voltage, amps, power, and resistance.
Mm-hmm.
So if you say 0.15 ohm at 80 watts, you get 13 amps at about 4 volts, something like that, 3.6, 3.8 volts, something like that. So you know that if you've got a 0.2 ohm coil and you're vaping at 80 watts, your battery is going to be draining at 13 amps at 4-ish, about 4 volts, something like that.
Yeah.
So, that's fine. The VTC6 is rated at 15 amps. or 30 amps with an 80 degrees Celsius cutoff,
Right.
but 15 amps. So you're fine. But if you have a 0.15 ohm coil and you're vaping it at 160 watts, you're going to be drawing 24 or 24-ish amps out of that battery.
That's insane.
Which means not only is it going to heat up a lot quicker, you're
Yeah.
going to be draining that thing like crazy. So you're better off with a VTC5A, which has a 25 amp. It's got 400 mAh less capacity at 2,600, but it can discharge at 25 amps. So it's not going to heat up as much, and you're going to get more battery life out of it. So people don't think about this stuff.
So just before we get into anything else, I just want to let you know that we're going to be linking these in the description. So if you guys are maybe not following it, or you want to know more, there'll be a link in the description.
They are very good articles.
You can click on it. You can read what you need to know.
They know what they're doing.
It's just better to be educated. Like we said at the start, this industry can be rocket science if you want it to be, and it can also be very simple if you want it to be. Once you find that sort of area or pocket of what sub-ohm, dual 18650 or rebuildables or pod systems, you can then kind of go in more in depth on these sort of pocket areas and learn more. But battery safety is something I think everyone should know.
Even in a regulated mod will try its best to keep the battery safe. Of course it will. But as I said, if you've got even in a regulated mod, what it will do is if you've got a 15 amp like max discharge battery and you're trying to get like 160 watts, you've got two different types of mods. You've got the older style, which will pulse. Yeah. The old pulse style. So it'll go like, even if you hold down the fire button, it'll just go.
Yeah.
Or your battery will go from fully charged to 0 and it will say check battery error, something.
Yeah.
So most vape shops are obviously gonna give a decent battery that will work. Think so. But even like standard vapors, just using a box mod with a dual 18650 setup can learn something from different batteries. Because also, if you are vaping at 90 watts, 90, 100-ish watts with a dual battery setup, you're still going to be drawing 14 point something amps from that battery, which means it will probably discharge, the milliamp hours, will discharge quicker than if you put a higher discharge battery with a lower capacity.
Yeah, that's true.
Because if the battery's rated at 15 amps, it'll give you 3,000 milliamp hour for half hour at 15 watts.
Okay.
And then an hour if you're doing it at half that, and double as you go down. So if you've got a 25 amp battery and you are vaping it at 15 watts, you're going to get more out of a 25 amp battery. So personally, I'd be better off with the VTC5As rather than the VTC6s.
Yeah.
Even though the VTC6s have 400 mAh more capacity.
Exactly. So it's just simple things like that. Well, I say simple things. It's things you can educate yourself on to get the best out of your products.
Yeah.
And the safest
and
way.
Keep safe.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one thing I will always advocate for. Is obviously vape advocacy as an industry. We should stand for the right things. And also safety, because that's the whole point. The whole point we're making this switch is because it's a considerably healthier, 95% proven in the UK, wherever you want to debate that. You can go to your blue in the face, I'm not listening, it's 95% safer alternative compared to cigarettes. But along that, you want to keep as healthy as you can with it. I'm not saying if you do either, you shouldn't do it. If you don't do either, you shouldn't do either of them anyway. But along with that goes safety. Safety and health. They're the two main things for me that, is what everyone should care about. So
yeah, again, going with the safety, I think rule one after rule 0 of checking for damage, rule 1 would be don't just use any battery. Also,
you're going to talk about like having a set and marrying them, because a lot of people don't know about that either.
Well, there is that. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, so if you buy a set of batteries and you charge them together between 5 and 10, depending on what set they are, what will happen is they will marry. So they will charge evenly, they will discharge evenly. That is so important when you're using batteries. If you feel like you've got 4 batteries and they're 2 different sets and 2 are charged, 2 aren't, and they're from a different set, you cannot just bung them in one device and expect the safety chip to regulate them. That is going to, 1, fry your chip over a long period. It's not going to be able to handle it. And 2, it is not safe to be using, because then batteries are just they're not discharging the same. You need to use the same set, even if it's a single 18650 and you have another single one,
Don't put them together.
Exactly. Just don't put them together.
But that's basically rule 1.5, I suppose we could say, or rule 2. But rule 1 would be, you know, don't just pick up any old battery.
100%.
Do your research. If you want to try and get them cheaper than the vape shops, which inevitably some people will do.
Of course they will, yeah.
You know, and you go on eBay, as the best example probably, and you see a pack of 20 18 650s for a tenner. Like,
do not trust that.
First of all, if they're from some Chinese brand, like, I don't know, Immunofire, as that probably does exist.
Probably, yeah.
And they say like 6,000 milliamp hour at 30 amp discharge on the wrap, they're not that.
Yeah.
Don't even bother. Send them back if you can, or throw them away. Don't even risk it.
Yeah, like I said, safety is important.
I mean, I could say you could try and peel back their wrap to see what's underneath, but I wouldn't even bother.
I wouldn't
send them
recommend
back.
that either.
Send them back or throw them away. Get them disposed of properly. And, you know, like, look at what's on the wrap of the battery.
Yeah, of course.
Definitely. Even if you buy, you know, it's a seller on eBay, decent seller, he's selling you LGs. Once you get them, check the wrap.
Exactly.
Check them for damage. Even if it says, oh, they're perfect condition, they've never been used, they're LG, they're 100% authentic, still check them. Check for damage.
This goes back to
wrap.
what we were saying earlier. There's certain places I just refuse to buy any vape products from because I want to know where it's come from, and I want an authentic seller. I want it to be regulated. I want it to be. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's one of those things.
But like continuing on, like even if it's from LG, Samsung, Sony, check the wrap. Mm-hmm. Because sometimes they will swindle you with the different batteries. Yep. They might say it's a VTC 5A. Actually, it's not. It's a battery for a laptop. It's rated at 5 amps, 2400 mAh. Do not put that in a vape.
100%. I actually
5
saw a
amp
guy
discharge will last you for 20 watts. If you go over 20, 30 watts, you're going to be frying that battery, heating it up, and it could explode. Don't bother.
I actually saw a guy recently on just a Facebook page that's like vape related. You know, it was spammed all over there. You know, if you see this guy, you hear from this guy, do not trust him. He's selling 18650s, and he basically, in this thread of a message, he'd confessed to a guy that he was essentially buying really cheap batteries, but he'd found a place to buy genuine Samsung 30Q wraps and was rewrapping them himself and selling them off cheap. And he even said in this conversation, he knew what he was doing was wrong, but he was making money, so he didn't care. So you have to be very, very careful. Very careful.
Buy them from reputable sellers. Mm-hmm. Your local vape shop. Mm-hmm. I will say 18650.co.uk.
Yeah, they're a very good brand.
They are like, they've been proven. They're regulated. They do their shit. You know, they've basically taken what Battery Mooch does and turn it into a business.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I don't even know if he's related to it. He might be. I don't know.
Yeah, I'd like to think he's some sort of.
I think 18650. Yeah, I think he might be. Obviously, these guys have found a business out of what he does, Battery Mooch. Check up Battery Mooch's stuff. He will also, you know, he's on Reddit. He's on everywhere now. He's become such an icon for battery safety and like a sort of, like, you know, you go to him if you're unsure. People have even sent him in random batteries. You know, that's how come he's got this info. People are sending him like, I got this off China, like some Chinese website. He tests it. It's this battery. It's this rating. It's this amperage. He does like properly test them. And he'll probably have links to say, you can buy them from here, you can buy them from there. But yeah, like if you get a battery and it says on the wrap, like anything under 10 amps, don't put it in a vape. Don't even bother, not even if it's a dual mod, because you'll be safe up to like 25, 30 watts. But if you're trying to vape it at 80 watts, you're going to blow that thing up.
Yeah, exactly.
So basically, check for damage. Buy from a reputable seller, reputable brand, LG, Sony, Samsung. There's probably a couple of others. Like you said, Molicell's actually done pretty well.
Yeah. They're one of the only battery companies I've seen where their warranty actually covers vape usage. A lot of them. Samsung, LGs.
I will say that Sony do not allow vape use. They don't.
They're aware it happens.
Yeah,
but if you
they
ever
do
try
say
to
on their
repair
website, if you go and look up on their website, they do say these batteries are not suitable for vaping. Well, they'll say that. But you can.
Yeah.
Sony VTC 5As, Sony VTC 6s, they're about the only two that Sony do that are compatible with vaping. And there's some of like the best you can get in the industry, I'd say, from personal experience. But yeah, just make sure, like, think to yourself, oh, I'm vaping at 80 watts. My mod takes 2 batteries. I need something that's 15 amp and over. Don't cheap out and think, well, these ones are 8 amp, but they're £2 cheaper. No, you're gonna blow your hand off. You could blow your hand off, essentially.
Exactly, and this is the thing: it's just getting people to realise the importance of it. So, I mean, it's turned into a bit of a.
This is mainly when you're buying online.
Yeah, oh yeah, of course.
If you go into a vape shop, they should definitely not be selling
any
you
reputable
crap.
vape store will have the knowledge, or even the basic knowledge for what they sell, so they know that any batteries they put in their devices will be the right ones. So, yeah, I don't want to scare people into thinking, oh
This
no,
is definitely
batteries
for
are
education
minefield.
and safety.
Yeah.
Just if
make people aware.
if you're buying online, make sure you know what you're doing. Make sure to look out for any signs. Again, can't stress it enough. Damage, reputable seller, and just at least have that little bit of knowledge of, I want to go cloud chasing. I want to vape my box mod at the max. It's 200 watts. Okay, I need 25 amp plus batteries or 20 amp plus batteries.
Exactly. I think that wraps it up quite nicely, to be
Yeah.
fair. So, yeah, that pretty much wraps up this really long podcast, which I thoroughly enjoyed.
Oh,
So
definitely, yeah. I don't
thank
know
you
if, I don't
so
know if
much
people
for coming on.
I don't know if people managed to keep the thread of what's going on sometimes
we
through
went on
there.
tangents, but I think that's why I love podcasts so much, because you get into a point where you're just both comfortable and you're just talking about just everything. So if you guys have enjoyed the video, then make sure to leave a like. If you're listening on Spotify, make sure you hit that follow button, okay? Because that means you'll get notified every time the audio only version comes out. Leave a comment if you have made it this far, because if you have, then genuinely
Legend.
fair play to you. Absolute legend. Lastly, thank you so much for coming. I do appreciate your time. Obviously, happy
it was a
birthday for
pleasure.
the rest of it. And
Thank you.
I've taken a lot of your evening. I do appreciate your time, so thank you for that. Thank you for Sam as well. I want people to leave comments in the comment section about Sam, because he's been sat there staring at us.
He's been
bored.
been a legend in his own right.
He has, to be fair, done all the lighting, the camera work, and he looks like he's ready for bed. And I've just kept these guys away from their homes.
It's all Jay's fault if it's gone wrong.
Yeah, it's all my fault if it goes wrong. Okay, yeah, that sounds about right. But yeah, don't forget, I can't remember my outro. That's how long we've been talking. So remember to subscribe if you haven't, with notifications turned on. And I shall see you guys in the next video. Peace.